All right, we have Alex Novello in today. Thank you for coming in.
What's going on, Tom?
Comedian, content creator, and cat carrier.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is a cat carrier?
I have 3 cats, and yeah, I gotta carry them sometimes.
So that's part of your job description.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
You're definitely a comedian. All right,
yeah.
I'm sold. So how did this all come about with being a comedian? I mean, when I think about it, and I've had other comedians in, it's such a, it's like the music industry. You know what I mean? Like you're diving into massive competition, watered down, and now you can get a lot for free. So is there any way to make money other than like going on like a tour or like the improv, like things like that?
I'm not really at the point where I'm making that much money. I'm at the point where I'm just trying to get my material as good as possible. There are people that kind of, I think, put more of their focus when they first start on more of the production side of it, which is fine. If that works for them, that's fine. But I feel like that's sort of a trap, because then later on in your career, you don't have good material. So
right. Yeah. So when you have a gig, say at the Improv, right?
Sure.
Take me through the steps of what you do. Do you, throughout the day, are you taking notes if something pops in your head? Or like, some people have a recorder and they'll record it. Like, Elton John used to do that.
Right, yeah.
He'd like hum shit. And then 2 years later, you'd hear that hum and make a song out of it. Is that one of the methods that you use? Or like, what's the method you use to write your material or make your material?
Right, I use the Note app in my phone, and like if I have any idea at any time, what I'll do is I'll just put that idea down. I have an actual physical notebook that I use that I have to write all my jokes in, just for, I think, really my memory. And then from there, what I'll do is I'll go to open mics and I'll record the audio of each set, and sometimes a video, but a lot of times the open mics are kind of bananas, so you can't really get good video. But I'll try to really kind of analyze how oftentimes I'll like either stutter through something or get a laugh or don't get a laugh, and that's just really how you trim the fat. Yeah,
what's funny, because I hate these headphones. We hated them to begin with,
right?
But relating to what you just said, with the headphones, it keeps you so much more in tune, because you can tell when you're like coughing or maybe you're breathing to, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like little things. So like by you recording, you can tell where your errors might be, right?
Definitely.
So that's how you go about it. But where does your material come from? I know Rob had asked you before we came on, is it like, what genre do you target?
Right now, most of my material is just making fun of myself. And just kind of situations that I find myself in.
Yeah, what were you saying you were joking about? Because everybody thinks you're... I guess you got to be careful nowadays.
Yeah, well, I happen to look like a Nazi, and I also sometimes get mistaken to be gay, which there's not anything wrong with one of those. But yeah, a lot of the times being mistaken for either of those or both of those at the same time kind of throws people off. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just kind of not lean into it, but I'll just not address it until kind of later on in my set, and just kind of just go like, I know what you're all thinking.
Well, it sounds like you're using it to your advantage, right?
Yeah, I try to, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you have it, if they already think it, you might as well use it.
Right. Well, one time I got in trouble actually at an open mic because my material, I can't be any clearer. Like I'm not a Nazi, I'm not these things. But the woman kept, the establishment owner got mad that I guess I was doing pro-Nazi material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. Now, you hear this shit, Rob? Now he's just trying to make a joke, right? You're there to laugh. Yeah. And none of it's serious. And they're fucking with him about it. He's not a Nazi, for Christ's sake.
No.
This is the new age of anything's offensive anymore. So. Anything could be offensive to anyone. It seems like it's great.
Yeah, that's what I call cover bar comedy.
So now how do you do comedy when you have to watch everything you say? Because I mean, technically you could probably be, it sounds really fucked up, but it's the reality nowadays. You could probably be prosecuted for something you fucking say.
I mean, yeah, realistically, I guess you can. I like to joke that I could be canceled like way before I even get started. But it's a delicate kind of dance between like what I don't give a shit about people hearing that I say, and also just trying to figure out, because comedy is subjective, and obviously, you want
Go, you can move on any way you want.
Obviously, you want to be as, I guess, marketable as possible. You want to be able to make as many people laugh as possible. But at the same time, if you worry about every single thing that you say, you're really not doing the material for yourself. You're doing it for just other people.
You know what? Rogan and Chappelle, they were down here in the Hard Rock in Florida, and before you went in, they took everybody's phone. So they marked it like, okay, this is Alex's phone, this is Tommy's phone, this is Rob's phone, no phone. So that way they could say whatever they wanted.
Right.
And unless somebody hid one, which obviously I guess they did with Chappelle or whatever, but they tried to avoid the phone so they could have a comedy show.
Right.
You know, like a real comedy show.
Right.
What happened from a comedian perspective? What was the whole fucking thing with Chappelle that they made this whole big deal about? I mean, I saw it, but I would assume that you would understand it more than me.
Right. I mean, obviously he's an artist and he's trying to express himself as purely as possible, and I fully understand and appreciate that completely. I feel like in his case, whether it's earned or not, I feel like he's kind of ascended beyond comedy, where he's no longer, and again, I don't know if this is a choice that he got to make or if this is, you know, a title that he wants to kind of have, but I feel like he's ascended to almost pop culture commentary. Like he's no longer just a comic, where whether for better or worse, he has to kind of, or not has to, but maybe not. This is tough.
Well, I think what you're trying to say is because he's now so much in the public eye, maybe because he had the TV show, he might do the TV show again, because he's so much in the public, not just a comedian, he's got to be more careful.
Not really that. I feel like more people were upset about the fact that he has a bigger platform now than ever, and instead of, I guess, using that platform to pull everybody up, he instead punched down or punched, you know, not up, I guess.
What did he do?
There was a lot of and I'd be lying to say that like I watched his entire special to even know exactly what he said, but apparently there were a lot of like anti-trans.
Is that what it was?
And whatnot. Yeah.
Can you Google what, or do you know, Rob? Yeah, just Google what Dave Chappelle did.
Yeah, I'm not.
But that just shows you how crazy comedy has gotten. Where even if he did say something about transsexual or whatever, it's Dave Chappelle. You know what I mean? The guy got like $50 million for 10 seasons of his show or whatever, and walked away from it.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah.
So now, as you're growing up, are you thinking anything type comedy, or are there
100%.
any okay, 100%? Because I know you did comic books.
Yeah.
Do you think that played a part in the comedy?
Not at all.
No.
No. I've always wanted to do comedy. I've always tried to kind of go for the joke, go for the laugh. You know, in any kind of social situation I've been in. I had like as soon as we got like cable on TV, like I would watch like BET at night, and like it would be just all like the black comics, and like that was almost my first exposure into it. And you know, from there, I've always wanted to do this, but I had kind of an opportunity present itself professionally, where I was given a 3-month severance and just was sitting on my ass and just was told like, why don't you take advantage of this time that you're getting paid to just try it? You know, what's the worst that can happen?
Right. I mean, the worst you can do is it just doesn't work and you go back to what you were doing. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So here's Chappelle. What's that say, Rob?
So it says, the comedian Dave Chappelle loves making people mad. Throughout his career, he's delighted in delivering jokes that offend or tell uncomfortable truths. And his latest special for Netflix, The Closer, is no different. In it, he explores at length his strained relationship with the LGBTQ community, clarifying some off-color jokes he's told over the years while delivering new ones unflinchingly. So I'm guessing he made some jokes about the LGBTQ community, and
so that was the whole thing.
That was yeah.
So where were you working? What were you doing before you got the opportunity to do what you've always wanted to do? Just financially, you know, it wasn't there.
What I'm doing now, I'm an admissions counselor at a mental health and drug and alcohol rehab.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, in Florida, that's got to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's so much. How would you put it? There's so much negativity toward that because there's so many fake ones and off ones. So how do you battle that? So when you're running that and you're doing that and you got, every other week somebody's getting indicted, or I'm exaggerating, but twice a year, 3 times a year, there's some type of indictment with a mental health facility. So they're all over you.
Yeah.
How hard is that to run with a lot of restrictions that they put in? I saw they put in a shit ton, maybe 2 years ago when I had the engineering firm, because things would come through. How hard is that to run, and how are you able to say to a patient or a patient's family, like, hey, look, we're not like these other fucks. We're really here to help rehabilitate whatever the issue may be.
Right. A lot of the kind of, I guess, scrupulous players out, like that were down here in Florida, have actually gone out, like, all out west. So Arizona, California, Tennessee, like, they're all there now. So a lot of the, not to get like too kind of detailed, but a lot of the like fraudulent places that have been raided have been shut down. The facilities that I've been lucky enough to work for haven't been involved in all that stuff, and that's kind of by design. I don't want to have a job short term where I then have to, at my next job, explain why I worked at my last job or anything like that. And I've been wise enough, thank God, to, at facilities that have started to take kind of wrong turns, just jump off the ship like way before. So for me, being in coming from a recovery background myself, it's really less to do with like where you're going, and it's more to do with what you're getting. I didn't get to go to like a nice rehab when I got clean and sober. So like I know what it's like to just like need to just kind of almost like white knuckle your way through the process. So like when I get to tell people like, listen, dude, you're 18 years old and you're getting this, like you're going to get to be like 19 and this is all in the past. That's really, I think, what's more important.
And actually, if you didn't leave when you see things going south, you wouldn't be going to your next job. You'd be at a table like this, about 4 times the size of it, with 20 guys questioning the fuck out of you,
right,
and threatening you to death.
Right.
So it's a good thing you knew when to leave.
Sure.
To leave. So what are you seeing the most of right now? Is it the heroin with that fentanyl shit?
I mean, we're seeing fentanyl with everything.
I heard they're putting it in like Xanax.
We're having people that are just like weed smokers test positive for fentanyl.
Yeah. I saw that in the paper. Now, why would you put well, I guess a downer with indica, right?
I don't. I was lucky enough that I stopped doing opiates, opioids, whatever, before fentanyl really hit the streets. So I don't know if I've ever actually done it or not. But from a drug dealing perspective, I don't understand what the profit is. And if you already have a product and you add more product to that product.
Like, are they upping the price?
I don't know. I don't understand. Yeah, like, oh, this weed, needs some heroin in it. Dude, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
We had we had a cop in. I forget who it was, or some type of law enforcement. It might have been the CIA guy. I don't know who the fuck it was, but they were saying that they were putting fentanyl in cocaine. Mm-hmm. Now, chemically, that makes no sense to me.
Right, because
one's a downer. And one, so why? And then again, where's the profit? Because you're selling cocaine to get upped,
right?
But you're putting fentanyl in it to go down,
right? The only way that I think that would make sense is if they're getting the fentanyl so cheap that you're using that to cut the cocaine with.
Oh, so like the fentanyl's so fucking cheap and such a little amount is needed, you can really like step on the coke, right? And then you'll get an effect from it, and people might think, oh wow, this is great,
right? That's the only way in my mind that I can think.
But I'm saying, like, in your facility, is that the most issues that you're seeing?
Well, we're also mental health. So we're not just substance abuse. It's not just like, hey, I have a heroin problem. A lot of the times we're getting patients that are, actively suicidal, have depression, anxiety, PTSD issues, and sometimes are cross-addicted or sometimes don't even know. Like we'll have a woman that, like, oh, I, take 2 Xanax and drink a glass of wine every night. I've been doing that for 30 years. It's like, okay, can you think of the last time you remember what 8 o'clock looks like?
I was just about to say to you, is that really that bad?
I mean, if people are blacking out every night on it, yeah.
Because she's probably not drinking 1 glass of wine and 2 Xanax and blacking out, right? I would think.
Right. That a lot of the times what is
that might be a little bit watered down.
Yeah. What's usually reported to us is you have to times that by like 3 or 4 once they get in the door.
Right. So it's just all over the place.
Right.
Now, since the pandemic and all this shit, have you seen an increase in mental health issues?
Absolutely.
Now, do you think it's more of anxiety, worrying about jobs, or, husband and wife, now they're together all day and they're not used to being together all day?
I think it's a combination of both. We've been getting a lot more cases of domestic abuse and stuff like that, which is pretty difficult to deal with. And sometimes it's like, oh, I've been with this girl for a year and I never saw this coming. And sometimes now due to COVID, it's this is my wife or husband of 30 years. I never would have assumed that this would happen, but when you're stuck in a house with somebody for 2 weeks, anything can happen, I guess.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Domestic abuse, and definitely like a lot more suicidality, which is, pretty difficult to kind of battle because you never really know like at what point somebody's triggered. And when somebody makes that call, a lot of the times the attempt has already happened. So it's not even like you're trying to prevent that from happening. It's you're picking up the pieces of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, as of recent, since all this has been going on, what do you find, without saying too much information, with what you do, what do you find is the like top reason that these people are becoming suicidal? Like when you say to them, okay, what's wrong?
Right.
How can we fix this?
Right.
What do you find it is, if you had a gun to your head and I said, what is the most people that come in here, they say, look, I'm suicidal because of why? Since the pandemic. Okay.
I think a lot of people just lost hope.
Yeah.
And, it just kind of feels like this is never going to end. And, if it does, this is all fucked anyway. So it's, a lot of people have just kind of not necessarily given up, but have given up hope and faith that it's going to get better, which really sucks. Because these are unacceptable conditions. So, we cannot accept these. So.
And, I guess it kind of sounds bad, but you can't blame them. Because every time you put on the news, there's something new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's not COVID, it's the next one. And if it's not that, so you never get to look at the news or a newspaper and there's something positive.
Right.
And if it's not a pandemic, they're killing each other.
Right.
And nobody's doing anything.
Yeah. My mom actually, I was up in New Jersey visiting my folks for Christmas. My mom did something that I don't think anyone's ever done. She was watching like CNN for 2 hours, which like had me almost suicidal. And then she watched Fox for 2 hours. And like,
oh, that would mind fuck you.
Right, yeah, but like it just both channels were just, and especially in Jersey because everything's locked down, it was just like stay home, don't do any, just stay. It's just pounded in their head like how crazy it is there, and not to I don't really I'm a stand-up comedian, I'm not a scientist or anything like that, but it definitely feels like that's an overreaction. Which I can't blame people up there if they're just walking around fucking terrified, because it's hard not to be when you have like bomb alarms going off.
Really?
Yeah, well, yeah, like figuratively, but
right.
Like they're just sounding the alarm, like it's over, just okay, just sit back and die, I guess. It's
can you imagine that, trying to watch 2 hours of CNN and then you go back to Fox? I mean, my head would be so fucking fucked up. Yeah. But that's what they want. I swear, I mean, Yeah,
I got dizzy, Yeah.
I have friends up there and they're talking about going into lockdown again, and it's just like.
In Jersey?
Up in PA, certain areas. And it's like, I understand if you have a sick, older parent or somebody sickly, right, to be careful around them, right? But going outside, breathing fresh air, going to the park, exercising. I mean, these are all things they don't talk about.
No.
Sunlight is good for you. Exercise is good for you. Interacting with human beings is good for you.
Well, all they talk about is the V. That's all they talk about.
But segregating yourself from all of that is why his place is packed.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
And then when you get into the domestic abuse, I mean, fuck,
Yeah.
And you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of somebody who like went to rehab and they got cleaned up, and then they come back out to their wife or fiance or girlfriend, and they're a different person. It just happened with a friend of mine. And, you know, he came out a different guy, right? So she's not in love with the guy that came out.
Right.
She was in love with he wasn't bad, but, you know, enough where he needed treatment. But the guy that he went in is not the guy that he came out.
Right.
Because now he's sober, thinking differently. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm relating that to when a husband or a wife nowadays goes to work and you only see each other 3 hours a day, you can get along.
Right.
But when you're stuck together 24/7,
Yeah.
you know, needles are going in the eyeballs.
Yeah. I mean, people were retiring early, you know, and, you know, some people shouldn't have been together that long anyway.
And then this motherfucker's just pumping out money so you stay home and don't want to work.
Right.
You know, it's crazy. So now you had an addiction yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What was your drug of choice?
Specifically in this order, opiates, then benzo. So like an oxy on a perfect day, like an oxy 80. On a perfect day, an oxy 80, followed by a Xanax or two, followed by a blunt, followed by a McDouble. And that's not a joke. I was,
like a McDouble as a McDonald's?
From McDonald's, yeah.
Oh.
I was so fucked up in the head that,
I think that would have been like the icing on the cake for the day.
No, yeah. So the McDouble was because, you know, when you're fucking doing heroin, you know, you're broke as shit anyway. So you usually only have $1 on you. And at the time, you could actually go to McDonald's and buy something for $1. And my sick brain was like, I'm ahead of these other addicts that don't eat. I swear to God, this was like my inner monologue. Like I'm hitting all the food groups in this one meal. You know, I'm getting carbs. I'm getting, you know, you're
getting your vitamin D on that Big Mac.
Right. Yeah. So
you should put that in the joke line.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is pretty funny, right? Now, was that like that was the routine every fucking day?
No. You know, if you don't really get to pick and choose, you know, sometimes you get Xanax, sometimes you get opiates, sometimes you get, you know, that was, like I said, my perfect day. But a lot of the times it was just really the opiates. You know, that was the thing I was like mostly addicted to.
Now, was that a choice you made to play with, or did you have like a back surgery?
No, I started playing with it.
You chose to fuck with it, yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of, which was really, I don't really have any other excuse other than like I hit a point in my life where I was just kind of like sick, and I thought I was kind of doing everything that I was supposed to do in my life, and just it kind of felt like nothing was working out for me at that time. So I just kind of decided, like, why am I walking around acting like this, you know, nice, good person when like everything's just taking a shit on me? Like, why not?
Fuck it.
Why not try being a piece of shit? You know?
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah. I learned how to, you know, break into cars and stuff and all that fun stuff. So.
Yeah, my friend used to call it the fuckets.
Yeah.
He would get the like he'd be fighting with his girl and he'd be like, fuck it.
Yep.
And he'd go out, hit a bitch off, and he would just get fucked up for like 3 days on alcohol, 4 days, and then come back, snap out of it, fight again, fuck it. It was called the case of, where's Joe at? Case of the fuckets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I this scar here, I don't know if you can even see it anymore. I got jumped at a part. Which is to this day why I don't wear glasses really in public. I wore glasses to a party, and these kids mistook me for someone else and just beat the shit out of me, and like just like pretty much punched my glasses almost into my eye. And it was kind of after that, like just mentally, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, what am I doing? Like being this like straight laced kid that just gets beaten up for, you know, because at the time I didn't even know the whole story. I thought they just beat me up.
Like sucker punch you.
Right. Yeah. So at that point, you know, breaking into cars, houses, doing drugs, that was my thing.
So when you say you were into cars, you mean literally into cars?
Yeah. You know, if I could. Yeah.
What's the hardest car to break into during that time?
I mean, I would just break. I wasn't like stealing the actual cars. I was just trying to go through like whatever you had in them. So I was just.
Were you like one of those like door checkers?
No, I would just smash your window.
Oh, you just skipped that part. So
yeah, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Yeah.
It was in and out.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Right. Yeah. That Civic looks like it's taken care of. So, yeah.
Okay, so we weren't picking locks.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm far too fidgety to. Yeah.
Yeah, just take the fucking bat and get in the bitch and get out. Right.
That's the one.
And go get your hit.
Right, and that worked out 40% of the time. So yeah.
Yeah,
That's not
A lot
that
of
bad.
no, a lot of the times it just resulted in me breaking a windshield and running away very quickly, because it made a lot more noise than I ever planned it would. So
that's like in North Philly when I'm in college, and and this is going back. You left CDs, and CDs were huge, right? People would steal CDs. Now then, people don't know what the fucking CD is. And you just fucking walk out in your window, smash them like that motherfucker.
Yeah.
That motherfucker.
I know that feeling, man. You're in high school and you walk out to your car and you got, like your CD booklet to play for the girls, depending on which girl gets in the car. And then some motherfucker breaks the windshield and steals your. Like, they always got to steal the fucking CDs, right?
The Pioneer.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What they call them? The deck. The deck.
The
right?
fuck. What was it
What
called?
were they called? Remember?
Pioneer. I just remember it was called Pioneer. It was it was a deck that CDs would go in, and people would always fucking steal those things.
I know what you're talking. I don't know what they call it. The sleeve, I guess.
Yeah, it was like because you would try to rip out your own radio,
Right?
Which would be a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
And then you would have to put in
Head unit.
Head unit. Fuck, that's what it was. Head unit.
They steal them all the time.
Yep.
And then they came out with the head units that flipped up, and you could put a DVD in.
Yep.
So we would hack the music videos and put them on DVD.
Right. Yeah.
So,
like Vin Diesel. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you could put in a DVD of say 20 music videos that were hot at the time.
Right.
Nobody had that.
Yeah.
But I had it in high school. Panty dropper. Forget it. It was great. It was a good time. But anyway, so that was so at your worst point, how much were you doing?
I mean, I guess the most I was ever doing was also when I was selling. So I was getting Oxy 80s for, I think, 15 a pill and selling them for 85 a pill.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I had a lot of profit to mess with and quite a lot more pills than I expected to have. So, so I was doing a lot at that point. That didn't last very long. But, that probably 4 or 5 month point was, why I don't really remember much of my second year of college. So,
Oh, you were doing this in college?
yeah. Yeah.
Now, in your addiction, was it one where people could notice it, or you were one of those good at hiding it?
I think people knew something was up, but I don't think people, like I said, I was a very straight-laced kid. I didn't get high. I didn't start drinking until after I graduated high school. I went to a Catholic high school. We got drug tested once a month. And it was serious. If you fell asleep at your desk, they would drug test you and essentially just accuse you of being Satan. So that wasn't kind of a game I was trying to play. But I think people knew something was up. They just didn't know what it was. And I don't think assuming the worst was really what anybody did.
Right. So because you had such a good past, when they looked at you, they didn't jump right to that. They just said something's off with him.
Yeah,
but
they
couldn't pinpoint it.
Yeah, I've always been skinny, so it wasn't oh, he's
losing weight.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I've always had problems sleeping, so it wasn't a thing where my parents would be like, "Why are you up?" Would it'd probably be weirder if I was asleep right now. Which actually, the drugs did help me with a lot. At the beginning, not to say that I got into drugs for good purposes, because they weren't. I just wanted to get high, but I was having a lot of sleep issues at that point, which they were helping with. So, that for me was my weird silver lining.
Have you fixed that since, the sleeping issue?
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
I take probably enough melatonin to kill myself every night.
Fuck, I wish that worked for me. I asked because I have sleeping issues too.
Well, no, I have a whole regimen. I take 2 gummies, a physical pill. I have a thing that goes over my nose.
So you make sure that motherfucker shit's getting in you one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can take Ambien and it doesn't do anything.
Okay.
Nothing at all.
Ooh, I had a weird Ambien story.
Tell me.
So I
heard about all these crazy Ambien stories, but I take 2 of them.
Okay.
And it doesn't. It does nothing.
Right. Okay. So, I don't. I know that you guys found my Instagram or whatever. I'm much more active on Facebook than Instagram.
I got your Facebook up there.
Yeah. I'm better at Facebook because I've been doing it longer. So I had been dealing at this. This was, I don't even know how many years ago. I had broken up with my girlfriend and was just kind of going through a lot at the time, and was just, I don't know if you've ever been just desperate to feel better. I was so so desperate. I reached out to this girl that was a psychic, And I was like,
Oh God.
that was, help me. And not to, honestly, what she said did help. So it's not even like, it was all bullshit. But, I reached out to her, and what she suggested for my sleep was like, hey, do you sleep with like lights on or whatever? Why don't you just shut them all off? And she suggested I take like an Epsom salt bath, like pretty much just like she did what any good person would do, is just suggest like relaxing before going to sleep. So I was doing a lot of research about like just kind of unplugging from social media for mental health, whatever. So like I just in one fell swoop decided like I'm gonna go to the doctor, I'm gonna get on antidepressants. He prescribed me an antidepressant and Ambien. And like that night I'm like, I'm gonna take a bath with Epsom salt. I'm gonna shut off all the lights. I'm gonna shut my phone off and just fucking go to sleep.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, like I decided like that night then and there, like I'm getting rid of Instagram. Like I don't use it. I fucking hate it. I'm better at Facebook, whatever. So I went to post like a GIF. Is it a GIF or GIF? GIF. All right, GIF. Yeah, I posted.
I don't know what the fuck it is either.
Yeah. I went to post a GIF that just said like, and it was really cool. It was the word goodbye, and it kept changing like a million different ways. Mm-hmm. And like I thought I posted like getting off of Instagram, but like all I did was post the GIF, which was just the word goodbye. You can't post GIFs to Instagram. It doesn't let you. All it will do is take a GIF and just take a screenshot of it. So all I posted was the word goodbye.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I post the word goodbye, shut my phone off, shut off all the lights in my apartment, whatnot.
This is not good, Al.
No, it's not. Go to take a bath, go lay down and have the best sleep of my life. I mean, the best. I got like 14 hours of just peace. I wake up, my phone's like this and my elbow's like this and my phone's vibrating. So like I know it's on, and like I look down and it's Instagram for some reason, and it has like a message with probably 80, 90 people in this message, and I just move a little bit and it says message sent. I'm like, oh no, like what did I just do? And what I somehow did in my sleep was send 90 people a text between like my ex and I from like a fight we were in from like 3 years prior, and it was just like you never appreciated me, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. It was just pretty much the most embarrassing thing you could possibly send stranger.
But was it something you've been wanting to say to her?
No, dude, really? This was just literally somehow my elbow just
fucking buried you basically.
So I woke up pretty much to a bunch of people thinking that I had tried to kill myself. And then they got a message like that as soon as I woke up. So it was like the most embarrassing 24 hours trying to explain myself. Like, listen, I just tried to get a good night's sleep. Nothing. I feel great actually.
So you take Ambien and you're now dead, and
right.
You told your ex-wife off.
Right. Yeah. I messaged everybody I know. A very personal message between my ex-girlfriend and I. Yeah.
I bet that was interesting to explain.
Yeah. It was really funny for a while. I was talking about that at open mics. Like let's just get this out of the way now. Didn't try to kill myself. But it's one of those things where all the stars aligned to just fuck me. Yeah. And the intention like wasn't there. It was like all just I'm gonna get off Instagram, get a good night's sleep, and just and not how it went.
See, I've heard that so many times.
Yeah.
And for me, it's nothing. Doesn't do anything. I take 2 of them. The orange ones, nothing. Prescribed.
Right.
Nothing. Trazodone has that window.
Okay.
I get fucked in that window every time.
Okay.
You have like that 30 minutes where you kind of got to be laying. You ever take Trazodone? Have you?
I overdosed on Trazodone.
How the fuck do you overdose on Trazodone? Was your dick hitting you in the head?
No.
I'm saying that because it's a side effect.
It's all right.
For some people.
So, I
That's an interesting choice of drug to overdose.
It wasn't intentional.
I believe you. I'm
right.
just saying.
So, I had just left a job and had been pretty much given like the go ahead that I'd be starting another one in about a month from that point. So, I went to my doctor and said like, hey, I'm not going to have health insurance for probably like the next 90 days or whatever. Would you mind filling this script for the next 3 months to just cover me until I have it again? So he said, yeah, like no problem. My prescription was for 100 to 200 if needed, which was like either 1 or 2 pills at night. So he filled it. I researched that the cheapest place you could get your prescription filled was Target. So I went to Target, got it filled. And mind you, I had only been going to Publix as long as I've been doing this. So they filled the prescription, and I like went to read it, and it said like prescription 100 to 200 if needed. Take 1 to 2 what did it say? Prescription 100 to 200 milligrams.
Like before bed, I think
25 milligram tabs.
Yeah.
So in my mind, 25 is 1 pill, 50 is 2. You know, so like now I have to take
4 pills to get 100.
right. So I took
200, I would assume.
right. So I
Right.
took 8 pills. They were, I think, 50 milligrams each.
Oh.
Yeah, so that half-hour window that you talked about, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but like once a week I'd have to go like during that window, and I'd find myself like on the toilet, like falling asleep, trying to pump it out, but also like get back to bed in time. And the same thing happened. I had my ex had her mom over. I had like cooked them dinner. I had like something I was gonna do like really early the next morning. I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna go, get some sleep. Good night, love you guys. Took them. Same thing happened. Had to go to the bathroom. Ran to the bathroom. And like, dude, I on my life, I used to have like a kickstand on my phone. And like I'm always watching like Motor Trend and like little short like car videos like that. I started a video, I think on like the Pontiac. I don't even know what. It was like a 5-minute video. Kicked it open. Started the video, and all I remember was it starting, and then coming to. I'm on the floor. My ex's mom's screaming. My ex is crying. I'm covered in puke blood. I'm on the floor of the bathroom, and the video's still playing.
Oh shit!
In the background. So this all happened in like 3-4 minute period of time. Apparently, I stopped breathing, hit my head on the wall, then hit my head on the floor. And like my ex just happened to go into the bathroom because like her mom wanted like a tissue and just found me there. So again, it was one of those scenarios where like I didn't.
It wasn't on purpose. Right.
Nope, not at all. So yeah, luckily, I had actually for whatever reason like drug tests on me because I think like my former roommate was in recovery, so like we just had them on us. So she drug tested me. I had to explain to her like that wasn't intentional. Why the fuck would I do that?
Like out of all things, like trazodone, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah, and not even that, but like if I what bothers me the most about suicide is I think how you set up the people that find you, if that makes sense. Like I would never do that to my ex or her mom. Like just let them find. That's So that whole scenario just sucked.
When you say that, I could see you say that with a lot of passion.
Yeah.
So you've seen a lot of where the family comes in not knowing anything and then seeing a situation like that.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, because like you as either a family member or a friend, like you're left playing detective for the rest of your life. Trying to figure out why or what could I have done.
What, when, why? What could I have done?
Right.
Why did this happen? That
right.
whole shit. Yeah. And then when you overdose from trazodone, what the hell do they do?
Nothing really. I kind of came to I don't even think like 911 was taking my girlfriend seriously at the time because they're like he's on what, and like as soon as I came to, like I got on the phone, I'm like, I'm fine, let me just get up, whatever.
So you got through it yourself?
Yeah, I didn't. As soon as like I came to, like I kind of like realized like the fuck happened. And I guess I was fine. I don't know.
So now jumping back when you decided enough was enough, right? So take me through that day when you said, look, I'm done. And then what steps you took in case somebody's watching it that is actively in addiction, trying to get out of it.
I had gone to treatment before where I had genuinely wanted to get clean, but it wasn't to be clean. It was just so that like I could get back in the good graces of like my parents, so that like I could have the life that I had, like drive the car I had and like go, just have that life again. It was never actually for Me, and it was never for sobriety. It was for something else. And kind of this last time around, my mom and my dad kind of said, like, listen, we've done whatever we can for you, but you kind of continuously choose this path for you, and we have to look out for ourselves. And hearing that from them, because they're very old school Italian, very old school, like, you know, Christian Catholic, where, you know, I never thought that would happen. I think getting them to that point made me realize, like, oh shit, now this really is just on me. And it just wasn't worth it. You know, like I still at that point wanted to do comedy. I still at that point wanted to, you know, have a family, get a house, like have a nice car. And I just did the math, you know, like I'm not able to do any of these things getting high.
So was that like the rock bottom point when your family said, look, we're pretty much done?
Yeah.
We did everything we could. And then you processed what they said. Now, did you stop right away? Or did it take a minute, a little, right away?
Yeah.
It seems like whenever somebody really, I don't know, it just seems those who have been fortunate enough to be able to beat this, it was just like, it wasn't and I'm not saying that there's not a gazillion people that went a different way. Just the people I know, they were too like, and I would be too, like egotistic in a way, you know, like to say, oh, I need this.
Right.
The ones that I know that quit were like you. Somebody said something to them that may not have meant anything to anybody else, but to them it was that right sentence at the right time, and they quit. Right. And they really did, just right on the button. Now, I don't know the kind of people you know, I'm not in that environment and job force, but I don't know anybody that actually recovered from rehab. I don't know one person, because I'm not saying where you work, but in general, it's a joke. I was forced to go there on my first case over bullshit, and it was like and it was the best one you could go to. There was the one in Pennsylvania they made me go to. It's out by like Allenwood, Crossroads or some shit. You ever heard Crossroads?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like, I don't know, but then again, it was it was a legal thing. You know?
Right. I mean, if in situations where, you know, either a judge or whoever makes you be there, I don't think you're going to be as successful as if you want to be there.
Right, because you can't make somebody do something they don't want to do. And that reverts back to like this mandate shit. You know, to me, I think the mandate makes people not want to do it more. You know, because generally humans rebel, right?
Especially in the South. So
right. So the more you push, the more they're going to go against.
Right.
And plus they're lying like motherfuckers anyway, but you know, that's
and it's unfortunate that we have to like live in the times that we're in, where like it's you can't just be handed like, this is fact. You know, it's like, oh, okay, great. Now I have to research like who's giving me this fact. You know, why are they giving me this? You know, what? It's crazy.
Save yourself the time and just go to PubMed or NCBI, because it's the only shit that is real, because it's independent. It's like studies from like Poland, Finland, Bangladesh. You know, Bangladesh is under 0%.
Yeah.
All they use is spray.
Right.
Peroxide and water. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. So, well, I'm proud of you. I'm glad that you got through that.
Thanks,
now you're helping other people, and now you have to worry about those other people.
Right.
So so that even makes it less likely that you relapse, because you're keeping other people alive. So you're a role model for them. So if you fuck up, then that would give them the okay to fuck up too.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the longer...
And I know you said it's not just drugs, just in general. You know, like keep taking whatever prescription you need to take. And a lot of things, Alex, that I've noticed just doing this YouTube shit, a lot of people have issues, but they're embarrassed to admit it. It's not embarrassing. Like, I have to take Klonopin or I'll go fucking crazy.
Okay.
Now, does that make me nuts because I medically need Klonopin because of maybe hit my past or something that happened? Doesn't make me nuts.
Right.
But there's so many people that need shit that don't take it.
Right.
Because they feel like, well, I'm not a mental case. Well, just because you need something, your genetics are a little fucked up, maybe you had a bad past, you're going to live a better life if you take this shit. Yeah. You know? How do you deal with that?
I mean,
and that's away from the drug shit. I'm talking mental shit.
I I'm pretty blessed in the sense that most of the time when I get to talk to people, they're either aware that there's a problem or someone else has made them aware of the problem. And what I usually tell them is like, listen, a lot of shit has to happen before you wind up on the phone with me. You know, so like it's you know, I think once or twice I wound up on the phone with a mom who had like a kid who was like away to college, lacrosse scholarship, like had the world at his feet, and she found a bong in his room and flipped the fuck out. And like she's explaining, you know, he's the president of this and he has 2 jobs and he's going to be a lawyer. And I told her, I was like, listen, I'm on a recorded line. I'm going to tell you this. You've done it. You've done it. Like, you raised the perfect son. Just let him smoke pot and just get out of his way. Like, he's got everything he needs. You know, like, you're just that bored, lady. I don't know what to tell you. But almost always, you know, shit's on fire in these people's lives.
And it's like, look, the kid's on pot.
Right.
Let him go, okay?
Right.
Don't push him to where you drive him nuts. And then, am I right? You know, there's a good possibility that he's like, well, my mom's calling me a fucking drug addict. Well, I might as well be one. I hear that all the time.
Yeah, that kind of happened to me. So, yeah.
Oh, that did happen to you.
Yeah. You know, like I said, my parents were pretty old school. So when they found that I was smoking pot, I might as well have been doing heroin at that point.
It makes sense.
In terms of the reaction, which is hilarious because now it's recreational. It's legal in Jersey. So, you know, had that have happened now, I don't know what the reaction would be.
We know guys still doing life for marijuana.
Right.
20 years.
Yeah.
Right?
I think, though, too, you live like this lifestyle where it's basically, you know, you're hiding like kids, teenagers, drinking. And then, or not even. Let's just say your parents are very hard. My parents were very hard. They didn't have any of that to do. And then you go to college. That's the kids that turn out to be the craziest, right? Maybe a kid that had a few beers in high school and had a few beers with his dad and a few beers with his mom. They go to college. Kind of get it. But now they don't do any of that. And they go to college. Dude, they're the biggest partiers, the biggest pot smokers, the biggest drunks, because they're just unrestricted, free to do it. So I think that has a lot to do with it, too. Just, you know. My wife always says, my kid's going to smoke weed. She knows it's going to happen. Every kid gets tempted to do it. Do it with me. You know, I don't know. You know, I don't know what the psychology is.
How do you feel about that? You know, because I kind of feel that way, too. You know, my daughter's probably going to smoke weed.
Okay.
The odds are she's going to.
Right.
Maybe she won't, but if she does, I'd rather her do it with me than somebody else.
100%. Yeah.
You agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. It's I'm not even a huge proponent of necessarily, and I'm really happy that I get to actually say this, not just on like a podcast, but like in my field, it's pretty rare where 100% abstinence isn't for everybody, in the sense of where, because I work for not just a substance abuse facility, it's a few mental health ones as well. A lot of the times we have to accept, you know, we're not going to get all these patients 100% sober, and that's okay, because you know, 6 months down the line, if they're on whatever it is, Suboxone, weed, ketamine, whatever, at least this person's not trying to kill themselves every night. At least this person isn't cutting themselves. At least this person isn't, you know, getting into fights all the time. You know, that to me is progress. So with weed, I think it's come so much further because of where the culture is kind of caught up to it, where, you know, you can probably sit down with your daughter and go like, okay, so I know you're anxious, so we're going to give you like an indica, and we're going to give you this kind, and we're going to have you smoke this way. You know, it's so much safer than when I was selling it and people would be like, what is this weed? Like, I don't even fucking know, you know, I don't know what strain this shit is. It's whatever the fuck,
right?
You know,
and like you just said, they're putting the fentanyl in weed now.
Yeah.
And now what's next? Carb fentanyl or whatever the one that's 100 times or 1,000 times stronger than the other one.
Right.
I mean, come on, honey. You want to light one up? Let's go.
Right, and my dumbass was putting like mango drops in my weed to like make them taste better.
You fucking nutcase.
Yeah, so
I mean, I would have done the same.
Right,
thing,
but so like who
am
knows,
I calling a fucking?
Who knows like what, you know, what weirdo that's growing this is putting this shit in this shit.
Right, and who knows what the fuck they're actually dripping in.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I just wanted to hear that out of your mouth. So
no, yeah, go with God on that one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's I think the Europeans kind of have us beat in this regard, like even with alcohol, where like if you don't treat it as this taboo thing, it's not abused as much because it doesn't come with as much shame. It doesn't come with as much guilt. It's either like you figure out at a young age, like I can deal with this or I can't. You know, it's not this like you base your whole personality on like I'm gonna get drunk every night, and you know, like that probably not the best thing to do. You know, and if when you hit that, you know, those kind of college years, and you are, or you know, you want to do those things, you know if you can, or you know if you should. You know, you don't kind of do what I did, which is like blow your life up at 23 and go like, oh shit, you know.
Now, do you think you could ever take an oxy again and just take one?
Absolutely not.
I mean, get the brainwashing out of your head. In your mind. No.
No.
You like it way
Absolutely
too much.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, you're at that point.
Yeah. And that's, you know, I say that with almost 10 years in between.
Yeah.
I tell people that is the best feeling I have ever experienced, probably ever will experience. But I've traded that for like, not necessarily like the second best and the third best, but like, you know, the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, like all of these things combined kind of outweigh.
So you were very quick to say no.
Right.
Like you couldn't wait to say no.
Yeah.
So I know it's a no.
Yeah.
And I can tell.
Yeah. They also don't make them anymore. So, you know, thank
Don't
God.
they?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
What do they make now? Something even stronger?
Probably. These things called like Opanas were coming out like right when I stopped. So they were like time release shit. I don't even know.
Well, it sounds like you stopped in time.
Yeah.
That's a good thing
sure.
because it's not because you stopped prior to this whole fentanyl bullshit, right?
Yeah. And with my track record of accidentally trying to kill myself.
If you would have kept going, you might have got hit on this one.
Yeah.
Right. You know what's funny is, you know, you're bringing up marijuana. A lot of times these people, I shouldn't say people. A lot of times those with addiction or issues or just emotional issues, they need marijuana. We have a good friend that comes in all the time. He used to be a carder. He'd make fake credit cards and shit.
Okay.
Extremely smart. Tattoos everywhere, but smart as, right? Yep. Smart as a motherfucker. You would never think it looking at him. But he can tattoo like a beast. He can do art like a beast. And he's extremely intelligent. Now, he won't do any drugs. Okay. But if he doesn't have his weed, his anxiety is through the roof. And he refuses to take like a Xanax or a Klonopin, only weed. And if he don't, like when he flies in, he doesn't have it. He has a card, but he doesn't have it.
Right.
So he got one here. I don't know how he did the dual. I don't know how the fuck he did it. But if he doesn't have it, he literally gets clammy, sweaty, right? Bozak?
Yeah.
Good guy. Shout out to Bozak. But like he medically needs it, and he chooses that over a pill that he can get addicted to. You know what I mean? Last question about that, and we'll get on to all your good stuff.
Okay.
What do you think about the war on drugs? Now, I bring this up way too much, so it's just like a repeat because of Portugal and everything else. You know, Portugal made everything legal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get popped, you go to a real rehab. Now, if you don't go to the rehab for the 6 months or however long they basically sentence you to, right? So if you get hit with half a kilo of coke, you don't go to jail.
Right.
You go to a rehab twice a week, you know, outpatient for 6 months, real rehab, not U.S. rehab, real rehab. Because they take the tax money from the drugs and put it into rehab. Whereas here, we take the tax money and put it fucking, I don't know where.
Right.
So I guess they put it on a plane and fly it somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you can't even get 4 people on the plane because there's so much cash to send it to an enemy. But that's another story. So, you know, with all that going on like that, you know, like what's your opinion on that?
Did you ever watch the show The Wire?
I watched part of it.
Okay.
Have you?
I'm just
good example.
I don't know why I just got into it after never watching it. Like I go through like The Sopranos like twice a quarter. Like I'll just watch it. It's the best show ever.
So good.
Yeah. I think I just got like sick and tired of like just using the HBO Go app for just Sopranos. So I was like, oh, why not? But it's a pretty cool concept. It shows you, and it's pretty dated now. It's like 20 something years old. But it kind of shows you what I think was beginning to happen to not. I don't want to say any of this and come off like I'm completely like against police or cops or whatnot, because I'm not. I feel like the war on drugs militarized our police to be almost not population, but they were no longer police. They were almost they've become almost like an occupied force that is here to not, you know, like I grew up where we used to have cops that would just walk up and down the street. You know, you knew them, like, hey, what's going on? You know, like I don't see that shit anymore. I feel like it created a distance between us and cops where, you know, like if somebody that's suicidal or somebody that's has depression, anxiety, like your friend that needs pot, that's not a bad person, you know, but that person 20 years ago could have gone away to jail for the rest of their lives. And I think that creates an uneasiness around, you know, cops. I think it creates an uneasiness around our government because it's all been structured like a business. You know, like the arrests keep the judges, keep the parole officers, keep the correction officers, keep the, you know, it's this constant system that just keeps playing into itself versus our citizens getting better.
Yeah, well, you know, in my opinion, it's a lot of things. First off, you got the police guy, the policeman, right? He's getting orders from above. They're getting orders from above to do A, B, C, D, E.
Drop the crime rate. Okay.
Right.
How?
So now whether they really want to do it or not, this guy up here is looking for that quota by the end of the month, right? So Alex doesn't meet the quota, now your job's at risk. So now you kind of got to fuck with the guy with the weed because you got to hit the quota.
Yep.
That's why you notice at the end of the month, you see cops everywhere.
Yep.
You know, okay? So you have that. Then you defund them. So now they're all, you know, if I'm a cop, you're already paying me shit to risk my life all day. Now you're going to defund me. Okay, now I have a choice. Do I want to pull over the guy with crack that might have a gun or the guy with a joint that I know doesn't have a gun? He's just like a hippie dude.
Right.
I'm going with the hippie dude so I can go home.
Right.
Right? So you have to put that into perspective. And then all this hate against them and, you know, you can't say it on YouTube, but, you know, all the protest bullshit.
Right.
You know what I mean? All of that combined with many other things creates a policeman to be really up against like
the world.
The world,
yeah.
Right? So now you're not getting paid. You want me to go into dangerous situations where I might not make it home. You want to talk shit about me, about how bad I am and I'm terrible. And then, you know, I do my job and now I do my job. And because I do my job, now I'm in court looking at manslaughter or murder or whatever. But I had 1 second to make that decision.
Right.
Whether some were right or wrong. Some were obviously wrong.
Right.
Some were obviously right. But you got that 1 second. You don't, Alex, I don't know what you have in your pocket. You're paying me $29,000 a year to have a guy come at me with maybe a gun.
Right.
I mean, what would you do?
Yeah.
I mean, do you fire? Or do you take the risk and say, he probably doesn't have it, fuck it. But how if he does have it? Now you don't go home to your wife and kids.
Right. Which is why I think like defunding the police, whatever, like that concept is so stupid to me. And maybe it's just a poor branding choice, but, you know, to defund the police, like, okay, so who are you going to call when shit pops up? You know, like what? Oh, okay. You know, I think it makes more sense to look at how funds have been directed towards policing and figuring out like how can we make that better. Like I don't want the guy that like wasn't able to get another job out of high school to be my local cop. I want like the fittest, smartest, best human being possible to be my cop. Right. I want my cop to have like not a law degree, but an understanding of the law that, you know, they're out there protecting and serving. I want them to have an understanding of mental health. I want them to have an understanding of combat training. Both like advanced and also I feel like a lot of our cops aren't held to the best physical standards where a lot of them, and rightfully so, if you can physically take care of yourself, I think you're a lot less likely to kill somebody or accidentally shoot somebody, you know, if you know you can take them down yourself. So I feel like a lot more funds and a lot more emphasis needs to be put on making instead of like a cop being almost like a joke job, like that should be like a job that people like, wow, you know, wow, you're gonna actually be a cop, you know?
Yeah, like when you look at like a specialist surgeon, or like when you look at the guy that Trump put in the African American, he was the first guy to do a brain. What's his name?
Ben Carson.
Oh,
Carson.
Yeah, okay.
You look at him, right? He's the first guy to do what did he do? He cut two twins. He was the first guy to save both of them. So you look at him and you're like, wow. Like you said, you know, we should be looking at cops like, wow, that's a fucking man right there. Right. Not like he got a cupcake thrown at him in high school and now he's going to come after me because I might have been the one who threw the fucking cupcake.
Right.
You know, like the power trip shit.
Right.
And you can always tell when they're going to be cool. You know, if they're good looking and in shape, they're not going to fuck with you because they got a happy life.
Yeah.
You know, if they're at home and not happy, they're going to fuck with whoever they can.
Right.
But now I don't think they fuck with anybody because they're not getting paid.
Yeah. I don't-
And we had the dirtiest cop. He's labeled, right? Mike Dowd. Mike Dowd is labeled as the most crooked cop that ever lived. He is a comedian naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could not sit with him for 10 minutes and not laugh. He's that good. Just naturally. He's on 24/7. And he was a police officer in New York City. Like, right? And he was there when nobody knew what crack was.
Mm-hmm.
And they started throwing away bags of shit. And when he realized it was crack, he was fucking mad as hell. Because he would get all the home evasions, take the drugs, let the guy off and go sell them and use them. Right? It's really funny when you hear it. Okay? But even him, of all people, Mike, was like, you don't want to pay the police? 911, hello? Fuck you.
Right.
That's what he said.
Right.
You know? Who are you going to call?
But like, okay, so
It's like Ghostbusters.
Right. Who are you
shit.
going to call? The army?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's essentially what when people complain about cops, like that's what it's essentially become. So it's weird to say this, but like they need to be scaled back, but also scaled up at the same time. If that makes sense.
Yeah, you know what, Rob? What do you think about the whole police situation? It all plays into what Alex does, in your day thing, really. I mean, it has to have.
Right. Like
an effect.
I want them all to be like 20-degree black belts.
You know what I want? I want them to all. I wish they would do like 6 months in jail, right? And then they come out, and that's part of training.
Right.
And now you understand what it's like to be in jail and be around inmates.
Right.
Now when you go to pull somebody over or have a confrontation, from that 6 months of being in jail, whether it's a medium, a low, I wouldn't put them in a pen, but like a medium or a low or whatever, then they come out and they have an understanding of how the criminal mind works. And I think that things would be completely different.
Right. I think there's a lot that goes into policing too. I think it's one thing. You want the best of the best. Like he said, we don't want some, asshole who got picked on in high school and got cupcakes around him and now he's just on a power trip and he's just that. We want the physically fit. We'll pay more. We'll pay more for that. So whatever. Take some more tax dollars and pay more for the police. Get the best of the best. Any job. You want the best of the best. You want a good financial guy or a shitty financial guy? You want a good one. You're going to pay a little more. You want a good engineer, you're going to pay a little more. You want a good this, you're going to pay more. And then I think, too, it comes down to kind of what you said is take the policing and go back to years ago when you saw police walking around neighborhoods and not looking in people's windows to see if somebody's smoking weed. Just, hey, they knew the kids in the neighborhood.
Yep.
They knew the parents. They knew the guy in the neighborhood who was the watchdog, right?
Yeah.
If they knew shit was going on. Take that money, invest into that. Have programs for kids that are on the streets. What are they going to do when they're on the street? They're going to get in trouble. It's going to happen. So have after-school programs. Have things where they can go to after school. They used to have when I was a kid, Police Athletic League. It was called PAL, where they used to have basketball leagues with the police. They play basketball with you, the police.
And that's good because then that generation growing up who's going to have the interaction with the police, they're going to know each other. So instead of just locking you the fuck up, remember back, we had talked about it with somebody else, back in the day when things were right, when I consider them right, if you get pulled over for a DUI, come on, unless you hit somebody, go home, tell your dad beat your ass.
Right.
Cop comes in and tells your dad, look, Alex is out drinking. Dad beats the fuck out of you with the belt. Yep. And that's the end of it.
Right.
And you and Dad go to breakfast the next morning. The cop says, hey, Alex, did Dad give you a beating? Yes, sir, I got one.
Oh, and
that's how I think it should be.
Then you look at certain neighborhoods, if you have a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood or predominantly black neighborhood, is a white cop really going to demand respect in those neighborhoods?
Hell no.
No. So you need some more Hispanic police officers that speak that language in those neighborhoods. Some more black officers in those neighborhoods. And then you have, your sidekick who's a white guy.
Right.
And it's just that it's the whole...
And you could play that and you could turn this into a fucking race car all you want. But goddamn well... when you're in jail or just whatever, you're more likely to stick with your own kind. Mm-hmm. So like he said, if it's a Spanish community, you send 5 Hispanic officers in there, or an African-American community and a white guy with them.
Yeah.
But you don't send two white guys
Right.
into North Philly.
Right. And to that point, I don't even think it necessarily has to be the differentiation has to be even their race or whatnot. But like if they're from that community,
Yeah.
cool. If this person grew up on this block, I'd rather trust that person than some dude that came in from Jersey City, and got fired from his job there, and this is just the only county that'll pick him up. You know what I mean?
See, you should have sent that to me, so I would have said it in a non-racist type of way. Because I'm not saying it racist, but you said it perfect, you fucker.
It's fine.
I'm just kidding.
No, it's because that's.
I did say one white guy with the three black guys going into North
No,
Philly.
yes, yeah.
He might want to stand in the back a little bit.
Yeah. No, because that's very much what happened to me growing up. I grew up in Marlboro, New Jersey, and our police force was, if you were dumb enough to be 17 years old and have a hat on. You dumb motherfucker! Like we pulled you over because you're 17 and have a hat on.
What was with the hat?
They were so serious about catching just kids that smoked weed that if you just looked like,
Really?
if you looked like you were gonna be listening to rap in your car, that's suspicious. If you looked like like you have long hair, that's suspicious. I've been pulled over in Marlboro more times than I can count.
How crazy was it when you moved down here and you could have tint? Because you can't have tint in Jersey, right? PA, you can't have any tint.
Very low.
They cut mine to shit the fuck off.
In Marlboro, if you have tints, like they'll pull guns on you. Like they're
guns.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I grew up in a town where they had nothing to do.
That's the worst.
Yeah. And they had nothing to do and almost unlimited money.
That's how they make their budget.
Right. So yeah. So I
But that comes down to they have to make a budget, right? So they have to pull people over. They have to make money. If they're finding the best of the best and taking money and allocating it more toward their pay instead of that, you ever go to those things when they have the big police tanks? It looks like a fucking army tank. You're like, what the fuck? And they have like 3 of them.
Yep.
You're like, that has to cost at least $1 million.
Yep.
This big fucking army tank. And I'm like, all right, maybe 1 small town. I don't know. But 3? Take that money, invest it in the people who are serving the police officers, and they don't have to sit there and go, you were going 37 in a 30.
Right.
Like, fucking really?
Oh, no, Rob. It's invested in the yacht that the captain's going on that weekend.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Yeah. No.
And it's not really his fault because it's the way it's structured.
Right.
I mean, I always say it. I had one federal agent. He was cool as fuck. I won't say his name because who knows whoever he's after now. I just know it's not me.
Right.
And he was a really good looking guy, really respectable, really nice. Like he really was doing his 9 to 5. Wasn't in there, breaking shit, acting like an asshole. He was really, really respectable. I happened to run into him more than once.
Okay.
But every single time, he was very, very kind. I'll never forget him. After some years go by, I'm going to call him and tell him he was really a cool dude.
Okay.
But, but that's how they should all be. And when they want something out of you, I'm not going to give them anything, but they should be nice.
Right.
Well, respect goes both ways. I think you need to respect the police. I always say that. I teach my kids that. I also think they need to be respectful sometimes, too. Most of them are. There's some few out there that are not, and finding that way where they can be involved in the community again and walking around and not just looked at and hate it. I mean, if they walk around neighborhoods now, people will be flicking them off. Fuck you, you pig, blah, blah, blah.
And then that affects guys like Alex and me and you. I've had plenty of runs in with them.
And there's bad.
And I understand. Sorry, sir. They're just doing their job. Most of them. But you get that one bad one that just puts that stigma on every cop.
And guess what? There's bad people out there. So the guy who was, like you said, maybe he's 2 blocks from his house and he's drunk. His decision's not smart. He could probably hit and kill somebody, but he's 2 blocks away. You know what, buddy? This is your warning. We're going to follow you right till you park your car, get in and go lay down, go to bed. That's how they used to do it years ago. Or they'd take you home and say, you dumbass, we catch you again. Now, guess what? We catch you a second time. Now you're fucked. More of that than you catch you with weed. Hey, son, we're going to tell your dad about this one. Don't keep doing it.
Right.
Little things like that. And then when there's bad people. So now the people in the community are watching for, what serious crime is compared to somebody just smoking a cigarette or,
right. And I think you would agree with me. They would be more effective if they said, hey, Alex, okay, you're all fucked up, go home. But if I catch you again, I'm going to get you. Now you're going to be on your toes, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Whereas if you come and fucking fuck with me and just throw me around for bullshit, what is the first thing I'm going to do when I get bail or I get arraigned? I'm going right back and get more if I'm in that situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm going right to the liquor store. You just got me on the DUI, fuck it.
You might as well, yeah.
I'm already hit,
Right.
right? You know, but if you let me go, then I would go home, sleep it off, and I'd think, oh, fuck, I know he's watching. He's around here somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? But those days are over.
Yeah.
So now tell me about the Novelloclub.
Oh, that's
I think that's tab 1.
yeah, that's just my Instagram handle. It's I'm into pro wrestling. So there's just this group called Bullet-Club, and it's just kind of like a play on there.
We have the best guy that can do the rock.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When you get home,
Okay.
look Victor Concepcion.
Okay.
He's maybe 50 down.
Okay.
It's early in the video, like
Yeah.
the first 10
I know.
minutes.
The name sounds really.
Yeah, he
familiar.
does a lot of big events around
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Like he'll like do like a charity event and have fucking crazy shit. Like crazy, like you like cars, like
Yeah.
not to break into now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he'll have the top Lamborghinis, and they all come there, you know, for people to come, and then you pay to get in, and all of it goes to like charity. Like I know him personally, so
Okay.
like it actually goes to fucking charity. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I'll have like a runway of like a fashion show, and I think it'd be really good for you because it's like a networking haven.
Right.
You know, it's in Wellington, ballers. Like this one guy was a painter. He paints like all these celebrities.
Mhm.
Fucking 100K a painting.
Wow.
Guys are walking up 500K for a painting.
Right.
I almost fell over. One guy, and then they do bids. Some guy just perfect suit, by the way. This motherfucker. I mean, you want to talk about a tailored suit? Holy fuck! Right down in there, boom, 2.5 million for a yacht, like nothing.
Wow.
But the networking there was
Right.
insane. Victor Concepcion, look him up.
Okay.
Shout out to Victor. What's up, brother? And you like dogs.
Yeah, that's my dog Piccolo.
And that was the dog on the plane from the
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
the fuck happened with the dog you were telling me about?
So, I brought my dog on. I brought my dog to New Jersey, and he was fine going there. You know, he'd never been on a plane before. He saw snow. He was fine. He was fine seeing my parents. Flying back, he was fine. But you know that like awkward point where you're stopped, and everybody wants to get their fucking their shit from overhead, but you're not allowed to yet. Like this kid just started screaming like the moment like the you know the captain's like, oh, give us 5 minutes and we'll let you just get your shit and get off the plane. This kid started screaming and my dog just like went nope, like he just hulked out of his carrier and just ran to the front of the plane.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I and like I didn't even know it had happened because like I had like my back turned talking to like the woman behind me because like my luggage was like 6 things there, so I was like, hey, would you mind, you know, passing this up? So like as that happened, I just heard this woman like, oh my god, you know, and the whole plane's just going like, he's so cute, and I just turned around like mortified, and my dog's at the front of the fucking plane. Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah,
Cute. What's his name?
Piccolo.
And if you're listening, his Instagram is instagram.com Novello club CLUB.
So you said it's a wrestling club? What did you say?
Yeah, so there was or is this group in pro wrestling. They're called Bullet-Club. So I just kind of like took the name of the design and
Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
CM Punk.
Really?
Yeah.
Of all time?
Yeah,
I don't know CM Punk. Who's that?
he's a relatively newer guy.
Yeah.
Oh, newer guy.
Yeah,
I stopped after watching. I was pretty heavy into it when The Rock was around,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
Hogan came back with
right.
what was it called when he was wearing black?
NWO. Yeah.
NWO. That was
That was the
funny.
coolest shit ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so my two are the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Yeah. See, mine are
I like,
Hulk Hogan.
I like The
and-
Rock. I like The
yeah.
Rock too, but you'll remember it. You're a wrestling fan, you'll remember it too. When Hulk Hogan, Hulk Hogan's the immortal Hulk Hogan, the red and the yellow, and he comes out of Bash at the Beach to go help the Macho Man Randy Savage,
Mm-hmm.
and he turns on him, and everybody in the I was a
Oh,
kid.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
started to cry.
You remember that, Alex?
I started to cry because he went bad guy. It was the first time ever Hulk Hogan's a bad guy.
yeah.
That was
yeah.
that was when the NWO started.
Yep, and then
Yeah.
it became cool after a while. You're like, wow, Hulk Hogan's actually kind of cool bad
Yeah.
guy. And then he went back to good guy, but CM Punk, wow,
Yeah.
interesting. I like
Um,
that. I like that.
he,
Show me CM Punk
You don't know
if you don't mind. No, I can't. If I saw him, I probably
you
would.
know who he is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
I used to watch it all the time.
Okay.
Monday Night Raw.
Right, yeah. I mean, I was huge into The Rock. I was huge into Kane.
Kane,
The Undertaker.
Undertaker.
Yeah, like my little brother loved The Undertaker. I love Kane, so like we would always play like the.
Undertaker's cool. So I see
Yeah.
Punk's here right.
Yeah, no, I don't know him. He was after NWA, I lost interest.
Okay.
He's back though.
Or
now.
got busy. Damn, he's in fucking Forbes.
Yeah, so there's a new federation called All Elite Wrestling.
That's it.
And he's there now. My other favorite wrestler is Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I like that.
Bryan Danielson.
Yeah,
so
Bryan.
he's there. So like I stopped watching wrestling. Like it's gotten so fucking lame.
Yeah.
And like I don't know anyone in it. So like if I turn on WWE, like I'll know like 2-3 people and like maybe one of them. With AEW, you know, they have like a bunch of people I really
So
like.
you think they're making kind of a comeback?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, Vince McMahon ain't gonna sit.
Well,
No.
we had a discussion. I love wrestling,
Okay.
but you go back to wrestling when it was the WWE or WWF,
Right.
For WWE, until the World Wildlife Foundation sued them. 'cause
Right.
they stole
What the fuck? Really?
so
Is
they-
that true?
WWF. And
The what? Wait,
The
what
World
the fuck?
Wildlife Fund sued WWF and was like, WWF
won.
is our name.
The fuck?
They won. They
Jesus
won.
Christ.
They won. But
Oh my god!
it was good then because you had like rivalries and you had like bad guy, good guy. You could
Right.
point them out, and then when like the good guy would turn bad or the bad guy would turn good. Now I just feel like there's too many wrestlers in WWE. That's why there's just too many and
Yeah.
too many different storylines going on.
Right.
But I heard I really haven't watched AEW too much, but I know it's on the up and up, and Vince McMahon actually has a challenge again, I think.
Yeah,
on his hands.
it's more, you know, obviously I know it's wrestling, it's fake,
Sure.
but you know, it's more realistic where, you know, like lightning bolts aren't going to come out of the ceiling, you know,
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
Doink the Clown's not going to come jumping out of the, you know, the bottom of the ring.
See, after the NWA, I just couldn't get into it.
Okay.
Because I enjoyed the NWA a lot, you know, because it'd come out and you'd be like, oh, what the fuck is going to happen now? And they made it so, like, dramatic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was almost like a Sopranos. Like, you were waiting
Yeah.
for Sunday night.
Right.
You know?
And you were waiting to see who was going to be the next heel turn.
Yeah.
You were waiting to see who was joining the NWO. And it would be like, oh my God, not Sting, not Sting. No, it can't be.
Yeah.
Now, those were the fucking days.
Yeah, for
right?
Yeah, DX was awesome.
DX was awesome. Yeah. Go back to his Instagram. Keep going down. He's got some pretty cool shit on there.
Yeah, like I said, you know, my Instagram's not as
What do you think about
flushed out as Facebook.
what do you think about Rittenhouse? You think that was a good call?
I don't think he had any business being there with a gun. You know, if he wanted to like help out or whatever, like that's totally his prerogative. But you know, it's like just talk about being in a situation that's just poor circumstances. You know.
Yeah, my only thing with him, he got off.
Right.
Good for him. Congratulations. But now he's doing the press thing.
I got a tweet. I got a tweet from him, like "Merry Christmas from the mountains." You know, like what the fuck? You
Good.
know?
Say, hey, fucker, put me on.
Right.
That will jumpstart your
Right, but like,
comedy
you know,
career.
now I don't know. I
just think he's making a really bad move doing this press, and I think it's gonna fuck him up mentally. Bad.
probably, but you know, he'll probably make a fine politician someday.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. A guy who's got a chip on his shoulder.
Right.
I mean, good for him. You know, he was in a tough spot, whatever it may be. But we don't need any. We need politicians that don't know anything about politicians.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And that's not to kind of go back to what we were talking about, but like
No.
politicians need to be completely reformed as well.
Fuck
you know?
yeah.
It's
But
yeah.
you know, it never happened
right.
until AI takes over.
Right.
And that's not a joke.
That's yeah.
Go to his Facebook, because it seems like you got more shit on your Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Where is it? That's where you're going to be performing, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be at a Villain Theater on the 9th.
On the 9th. So January 9th, you'll be at the Villain Theater. And we have that. Go to the Villain Theater website. It's right there. So you'll be there. They didn't put it up yet, but by the time this is out, it should be up on there. And that's January. So you're right there on that one on the 8th. You'll be involved.
No, that'll be on the 9th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so they'll pop that in there. So
Yeah.
when this comes out, it'll be up.
Yeah.
And then go to his Facebook. Go to his photos. I like to hear about the photos. So right now we're looking at Alex's photo. So who's in there?
That's Chad Ridgely, and that's Brett Moore's 2 other comics. This was last week at the Palm Beach Improv had like a holiday party.
Did you perform there?
Not that night, but yeah, I have.
Now,
Times.
are they getting business? Are they busy?
Yeah.
They're not worried about this shit?
No, I mean, Kevin Hart just sold out.
Oh, that's
there.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried to get
like
tickets.
30 seconds.
yeah. Keep going through a couple of them. Why does that guy look familiar? Steve Sosson.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good friend of mine from Jersey.
Oh, just looks familiar.
Here. Okay.
I mean, I used to be in Jersey all the time, and not that that means
Gotcha.
anything.
There you are.
There he is on stage. Yeah. Jacked up comedy.
Yeah, my friend Jackie Sanchez hosts a comedy showcase there once a month.
Really?
So, yeah, I was lucky enough to get asked to be on that one.
How often you perform at the Improv? Does it
As often
vary?
often as they'd like me to. It really just kind of depends. Right now for whatever reason I'm getting a lot more bookings like in Miami. But yeah.
Miami's probably better, right? Or no?
I mean, I hate that drive almost
with-
more than anything in the world.
Mhm.
But once you get through that, it's really cool. Everywhere that I performed in Miami has been a really good crowd. And that's really all I can ask for.
Now, when it comes to comedy, how does a comedian profit? I know I asked you in the beginning.
Mhm.
Is it all this?
I mean, you can monetize yourself with, selling merch, whatnot. I put out, that Novelloclub like logo that I have. I put out like just black T-shirts and made like a decent amount of money doing that. And like I actually at that point had considered like maybe I just become a clothing company. But you can do that. A lot of people monetize themselves off, YouTube, whatever, and other means, whatever. But it doesn't really become like stand up. Doesn't become that monetarily sensible for a while from what I understand. So, I'm very blessed to have a pretty good paying job.
So you don't have to give me the number if it will fuck you up. But when you do the improv and they sell however many tickets, is it a percentage that they give you? Or is it a flat fee?
It depends on your spot. I mean, like if you get asked to be on a guest spot, sometimes you're lucky if you get money at all. But if it's like a feature spot, again, it really depends on like who you're featuring for, how many people are in. So,
but sometimes you want to be that guest because you want to be on with like Chappelle,
right?
Or like what the Italian guy with the white and black shoes. I heard he's real.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah, funny as hell.
Yeah,
heard he's real dick in life, but.
I've heard the same.
You've
thing.
heard the same thing. Yeah, I've heard from a couple comedians. But he doesn't seem like it on stage, and he's funny as hell.
I being Italian, like I think he probably is just so like alpha and is so intense that like people are just like, what an asshole. Like
they don't want that. Like I get that a lot. Maybe you do too. Like everybody takes me literally.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I say fuck you, Alex, I don't mean like fuck you, go fuck yourself.
Right.
I just mean fuck you. But it seems in other situations, you say fuck you to somebody, it's like the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. People are fucking weird.
What's the best like not best place? What's your favorite place that you've performed at to perform at? What's your favorite one?
West Palm Improv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Just
I think more. It's sentimental, but it's also just like from a like a club standpoint. It's perfectly sized where. Like when it's packed, it feels like there's 2,000 people in there, but it I don't know, maybe holds like 300-400.
Do you see them? I always wonder. I know the lights are shining on you. Do you see? Unless you're sitting in the
Depends
front
on
row.
who's doing the lighting.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could see everyone in the room, and sometimes you can't see the front row.
Wow.
So yeah,
I always wondered that. They're like blinded.
I found, so you don't get fucking buried, is right in the middle at the Improv in West Palm. Like right, like where they, I don't know if it's a different setup every time, but every time I went, you got the back, and then the two sides, and usually the two corners get buried.
right.
The guy in the front, he's done for.
Yeah.
But I'm way behind the guy in the front, middle, so I can still reach for the waitress.
Right.
And that's where I sit, right in the middle of the front. I haven't gotten fucked with yet.
Okay.
Which I don't care if I do. What I mean? I try not to. Because I'll get killed.
I mean that's a club where like you're very, it's not like someone's gonna fuck with you unless like you're being that guy, like you're that dude like reacting out loud like oh ha ha, if you're that person, it's pretty easy to kind of call them out.
You know who was funny, who I went to see there? And I knew he was funny, but surprised how funny live was. Is it David Spade who played Meet Joe Black? Who played Meet Joe?
Dirt.
Joe Dirt. Yeah,
Yeah, that was David Spade.
Yeah, he was funny as hell.
Yeah.
I was surprised how funny he
I
was
wanna
live.
see him. I
Yeah.
wanna see
No,
him.
he was a killer stand-up. And
He killed.
Yeah, either the 80s or 90s.
Yeah,
no, he.
I saw him about 2 years ago over here at the Improv. He
like to see
killed.
him.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He killed, and who else did I see that killed? He was on Rogan. I forget who. Lucas kills sometimes. Lucas is either on or he's off.
Yeah.
David.
Yeah, last time he was a little off, but he was last to go up. It wasn't really a big joint. He was just testing material, I think.
I saw Bob Saget from.
Yeah,
And he was totally.
he is fun. Have you ever seen him, Alex?
Yeah.
I've watched his stuff. I've never seen him live. I was telling him before the show started, like, he looks so much like my dad that growing up, I used to watch like Full House, like, oh, that's kind of like, this clean cut version of my dad. But then like as a comic, watching his material, like, he's the dirtiest.
Oh yeah.
It totally,
Yeah,
it totally mind fucks you.
Yeah.
Because we all watched TGI Friday, right?
Right.
Full House. What else? Was Step by Step? Family Matters. Step by Step.
And
What was the last one? There was 4.
I don't remember. Step by Step.
It was
Family Matters. Full
Family
House.
Matters came on first.
I think they switched them though, didn't they?
Then it was Sister was the other one.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
That was the one that was flopping.
Right. Yeah.
So it's Family Matters, Full House, or the opposite.
I think they used to switch him around though sometimes.
Yeah.
What was doing?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
he was.
Fuck.
He was.
I'll remember at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what the thank God it's Friday schedule was, because otherwise we'll sit there
Right.
at 9 o'clock tonight. We'll text each other like, "Yo, this is
Okay,
what
yeah.
yeah."
Wake up.
So now, what was the biggest, since you've been doing the comedy? What was the biggest embarrassment you've had, or biggest where like the mic went out, or just something got totally fucked up?
Oof.
Why you think, Alex? Let's see. Perfect Strangers. I don't remember
they
that.
switched
Yeah.
them. They switched them around.
Full House.
Dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, dinosaurs.
I don't remember that. You know what I was thinking of?
Boy Meets
World.
Yeah.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Okay.
Shit. Yeah.
Nah, see, in my time,
Sister.
Sister,
Oh my
Sister.
God.
Yeah.
All right, so look, in my time, it was Full House.
Yep.
Then it was
Family
Boy
Matters.
Meets World, Step by Step, and Sister.
Right. I
And
can't believe
Family
I didn't
Matters.
say Boy Meets World.
That was the biggest one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think the kid in that was from that one movie. I'm not even trying to think.
Right, and I also had like any other guy, like a huge crush on Topanga.
Topanga.
Oh, fuck
Everybody
yeah.
loved
Everybody
Topanga.
did.
Right.
If she was just the whole show, everybody would have watched.
Right, exactly.
The ratings would have doubled.
Right. Yeah. I think
Because
she
the
was-
show was dumb as fuck.
Yeah, she was like my second or third crush. Like my first one was the Pink Ranger from Power Rangers. Yeah, like instantly, I was like, "This is the prettiest woman that's ever lived."
If someone watching this knows Topanga, we need her on the podcast.
Yeah.
Topanga, please come on.
Mscs Media Instagram.
Or the Pink Ranger.
And we'll have Alex
Or the
in
Pink
if he
Ranger.
doesn't get killed.
Yeah.
So, what was the biggest fuck up that happened when you were doing stand up?
Oof. I do this bit where sometimes like not to give it away, but like I'll like scream as loud as I can, like, and I won't like do it into the mic because otherwise like everyone's gonna fucking go deaf.
Right.
But I did it and the mic just went dead. So like I just screamed and I like really for whatever reason like just gave it my all on that one and then like brought the mic back to my face and like it was gone. So for the next like 3 minutes I had to like continue to scream
to
my
yell
set,
so the audience could
just
hear
so
it.
they could hear it and like I my throat was just like fuck you dude. So I that was really bad.
And how long did you have to do that for?
Probably like 5 more minutes.
And that's like a long.
That's
5
yeah
minutes.
on stage that's 30 years. Yeah.
And now, what are the people watching? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, because like I do this scream and then I bring the mic back and obviously explain, why I just scream,
Yeah.
but when you just cut the mic after that, like I just look like some lunatic. That's just, they cut the mic. Like I think people thought they just cut the mic on me and I just
Like as if you were being a jerk off.
Right,
It's time to
right.
go.
Yeah.
And, here's your sentimental goodbye. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that felt like I felt everyone's uncomfortability for me. And like what was happening wasn't even like what they thought was happening. Like I hadn't, the mic wasn't cut. The mic just died and the producer was just probably just in the bathroom puking or something. And so, yeah.
Now, being that you're a recovering addict, that has to be hard as hell to be in the comedian world in recovery. Or am I completely off?
Not really. A lot of comics that I know, you know, a bunch of them are really good people. Most of them are absolute psychopaths. So getting to see them like get drunk, get high, it's like, wow, okay, that doesn't look fun at all, you know. And in fact, like, this is the last place, and these are the last people I would ever want to personally be high or drunk around. So
so it works in reverse
right,
for you.
yeah, it makes it, if anything, it kind of like reinforces, like, Jesus Christ, like, is this how I used to act? Is this how
Good for you.
Is this how I used to smell? You know, is this how I used to just you know? It's just not my thing.
Good, because see, I would think 99.9% would be the other way, because everybody's getting a little buzz to go out on stage to be loose,
Right?
But you know, you can't do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can. I just choose not.
You choose not to.
Yeah.
But just having that in your face all the time.
It doesn't. Yeah, I mean, alcohol was never that big of a thing for me anyway. You know, in high school, everybody kind of, at least where I went to, well, I didn't even get high or drunk till after I graduated high school. I just kind of stayed within like my group of friends afterwards. But at that point, a lot of people just kind of chose like, either I'm going to become an alcoholic or I'm a stoner now. And for me, I loved weed. Alcohol was cool, but it just didn't do for me what weed did. So, you know, even being around alcohol now, it's not a triggering thing at all. I don't mind being around people that drink. I do mind people that are just obnoxious drunks. You know, like I've dated girls where they're totally fine. They know I'm in recovery, and like I tell them, like, I don't care if you drink, just don't turn into a totally other person, because then I don't want to be around that.
Right,
That makes
right.
sense.
So in the comedian world, is it mostly alcohol? Like, do you see a lot of drug use or more alcohol, or would you say the majority is a mix, as in
It's
both?
a mix. It's a mix, yeah.
So 80% of the time they're drinking and drugs. You would say?
Yeah, I never like polled everybody.
Right, I'm
yeah,
just saying.
yeah.
I don't know. I go by percentages. I don't know what
Sure.
the fuck.
Yeah, that'd be probably a safe number to.
And how bad did the pandemic fuck you?
Oof. I was actually just starting to kind of like get booked consistently, and it happened. So it really kind of threw a wrench in a lot of the momentum that I think I had, you know, about a year ago. But and not to like talk shit about anybody or any kind of scene in particular, but the pandemic, I think, favored West Palm Beach, or not West Palm Beach, but like South Florida comedy, because everywhere else was closed. So a lot of people were coming here from other places. And we got a pretty good like litmus test of like how good people were elsewhere, and like it really kind of forced this scene to step up, and like really start kind of writing better, and just, you know, not even just myself, but like a lot of people that, you know, compared to how far along they were last year, they're completely different comics.
Because you knew that all these people were flying in,
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Heavy hitters flying in to
Right,
see
New York from LA,
right, just to get the hell out of the house, and
Right.
scouts a
Right.
lot, because there's no one to scout in fucking LA or New York, right? So you're gonna go somewhere,
right.
you got to do your job,
Yeah.
or try to do your job, right?
Right. And we're very bitter, petty people. So, you know, if you take a spot away from us and we feel that we're funnier than you, like, you know, like, fuck you, man. Like, my next 5 minutes is going to blow yours away. You know, that's kind of been the mentality a lot of people have had.
But
so.
that's how you want it, though, right?
Right.
Because then everybody's coming with their best,
Right.
Right. Now, when that situation takes place and they're coming down here and more open, did you personally, when you were going or hearing your friends that were performing during like the spike or whatever, did you notice that a lot of COVID cases ended up happening from going out to, you know, the Improv or wherever it may be?
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of the early on cases, like from comedy, was just like when it was first starting, so no one knew, you know, like people were not socially distancing. People were just, you know, just going out to, like if you had a cold, you were still going to go do your spot. You know, now we're a lot more like, hey, dude, if you're not well, don't come to this show. You know, it's not worth it. You know, we'll pay you the $20 that you were going to get.
Yeah.
You know, it's not worth getting everybody here sick. Yeah,
I mean, being that Florida was open,
Mhm.
people were flying here to see you. Did you see a spike in COVID because of that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you did.
Yeah,
Okay,
for
so definitely people going out.
Yeah,
So the comic
and
club-
comics,
yeah,
you know, comics
and comics,
and
of course, yeah.
I mean, our scene took a pretty big hit when it first.
Rogan got it. Chappelle got
Yeah.
it. Dylan got it. They all got it.
Yeah, and when I mean like our scene, like obviously like you know nationally known comics like that, but I mean like just the South Florida comic community, like a bunch of people like within a 2-week span, like immediately got it, and unfortunately over the last 2 weeks, I think everybody else that didn't get it then
Got it now,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, because like I said, a lot of shows have been canceled.
Fuck.
Yeah, and like a lot of, which is good and bad, a lot of spots have opened up because, you know,
So the comic is canceling, or the
I mean, a few
facility hosting.
venues have said, you know, we're going
Fuck.
back down to nothing, or
Yeah.
you know, like, hey, our staff got COVID. I've been on a few shows the last like month or two, where you know, like 1 or 2 comics initially are on a show and then they cancel, and then they get a guest spot for someone else, and then that person cancels, and then the whole show gets canceled because there's only 2 people on the show. Yeah.
Fuck. Do you see another shutdown coming? Because you're in this public thing. We're just in this little box here.
Right. I hope not. You know, it's I really hope that we can figure out a way that that's not necessary. If it is necessary, you know, I guess we got to do it. But
I don't think it's necessary no matter what.
right.
But,
So you know, if it is cool, but I don't think it's been shown that it necessarily is.
I just think if you want to go to see comedy, you know the risk that you're taking, right? It's supposed to be a free country.
Mhm.
Therefore, if you want to go and take the risk, fucking go. If I don't want to go and take the risk, then I'm going to stay the fuck home.
Right.
Why is that so fucking hard?
Yeah, and
You know what I mean?
right.
It's like,
I
fuck.
think it's just difficult, like for you know, like as a comedy club, like as a business, like
If you don't have anybody.
right, you don't have staff, you don't have a show to put on. You know, what are you gonna do?
Well, we know what the cause of that is 2 hours of CNN and 2 hours of Fox. And believe me, your mom's not the only one doing it.
Oh, I know.
You know, my cousin does it fucking all day long.
Right.
And that fucking Fox bullshit all day.
Yeah,
I can't even fucking watch it. I'm done with it.
I don't even have.
You go down that wormhole and then
I
you're
don't
fucked.
even have a cable box.
Wow.
I can't.
Good
Yeah.
for you. You
Yeah.
shouldn't.
I
It's all
can't.
bullshit anyway.
Right.
You know? So you do see a shutdown coming.
I don't think so. I don't think in Florida. I don't think DeSantis would let it happen. To be honest.
But I mean, majority of the states.
I mean, you know, you were.
I'm just picking
you
your
were
brain
just-
because you're in
yeah,
that public
I mean, you were
shit.
just up north too.
No, I didn't fucking go.
Oh, you didn't?
Fuck.
Okay, I thought you
No.
went.
I was gonna go, but no.
I mean, Jersey's not shut down, but it feels shut down. So I don't know what the difference would be, you know, if they were like, oh, everything's closed. Like, what does that mean? You know, everything's fucking closed at 2:00 anyway.
So basically, they're shut down. They're just not labeling it
Right.
as shut down.
Right.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, New York's not any better.
No, New York shut down.
Right.
Yeah,
And what's
my bunch of my guys are there.
yeah, and I have a bunch of friends that live there, both in comedy and out of comedy. Where you know, the job that I'm working at now, I took it because it's a mostly remote job, so that I can have the flexibility to start getting bookings outside of West Palm Beach. And New York's the most logical place aside from LA for me to start looking. But right now, like those are the 2 worst spots I could possibly go. you
Yeah,
know?
because Dowd that I was just talking about, he's up there. Elite's up there.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie, he was in with the dog that got shot that he saved, and they're completely shut down. You can go to dinner. He told me last night, you can go to dinner in the store with a card or a mask. If you don't have a mask on, you're arrested. Or a card. And now what they're doing, which is fucking crazy, is because of all the fake cards,
Mhm.
now they're talking about a chip. Where like you can scan and this says you know, New York will do it. You know fucking New York will do
Right.
it. You know, I don't know that everywhere will, but New York and Cali, they're going like this when we could put a chip in somebody.
Right.
We're all about that.
Yeah.
You know that's what this is all about.
Yeah, and it's yeah, and then your chip's not working. Like, oh, but
yeah, that'll be excellent.
whoops. I don't know
Yeah.
if that, you know.
Yeah, go to Dr. Mangu so we can put another fucking one in it.
Right,
You
yeah.
know, so we can tap everything that you're
Right,
thinking
yeah.
and doing.
We'll get the Paxil chip.
Yeah. And then you're at another club, right? You have another event?
Yeah. So I'll be at Just the Funny in Miami on January 8th.
This one here?
Yeah.
Just to find out. That's a cool website. So that'll be what, January 8th?
Yeah, and January 9th, I'll be at the Villain Theater.
At the Villain Theater. Yeah. Okay, we'll have all that in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely going to be getting an Airbnb down there so that I don't have to do that drive.
Drive back, yeah. Fuck. And right now, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get booked for these shows? They reach out to you, you reach out to them. You have
a combination
an
of both. I don't think I'm at a point where I need an agent. I think if I got one, I would just be kind of spending money to have them send emails for me. So I'm at the point where,
They won't do, if you get an agent, they're not going to do what you would do.
Mm-hmm.
So until you're huge, fuck an agent, because they'll fuck you more than they'll help you.
Yeah, I'm just giving somebody 20% to fucking...
Right, and then they're going to lie to you on top of that.
Right.
I'm only telling you this just because I've seen and heard horror stories.
Right.
So fuck an agent until you absolutely need an agent where you're too jammed up to deal with it. And at that point, give it to your girl, wife, fiance. And if you don't have any of those three, find a hooker to do it.
Right.
Because they could talk.
Right.
Right? They're good. I mean, they are.
Yeah. You have to be a good salesman.
I mean, look, think about it, right? Not a bad idea.
No,
I mean, not sure if you have a girlfriend or wife or fiance, if they would be cool with that, but.
I mean, if I don't by that point, I will get a hooker. So, yeah.
Well, you get 2 for 1.
Right, exactly. And if she's cool, she could be my wife, whatever.
Fuck, that's the fucking home run.
Yeah, I mean, if she's making money, I don't mind. I could be a participation trophy.
And you get free secretary/agent.
Exactly.
That's a fucking win.
Right. Yeah, and medical exams. Most of it's just reaching out to clubs, seeing comics at shows. A lot of it's, you just go to an open mic, and a lot of the times people who host open mics also host, showcases or shows or whatever. So you just get up a couple times, let them know, like, hey, if you got something available, just let me on.
Have you run into anybody really cool yet? Like really name known? I know you just started, so I mean, you're getting there,
right?
But who's the top that you ran into?
I briefly met Jim Norton.
Oh, cool.
About 3 weeks ago.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah. That girl Jackie Sanchez, she and a few other people put together something called the Laughing Spree Fest. It was at the Boca. Not the Boca Amphitheater, Sunrise Amphitheater. I made that mistake. I went to the Boca Amphitheater. I was like, where the fuck is the show? They're like, oh, about a half hour that way. But they had Andrew Schultz, they had Jim Norton, and quite a number of other like really, really famous comics. Andrew Schultz I got to meet for like 5 minutes. He was pretty cool.
I watched him on YouTube.
Yeah,
he's not bad.
He's really funny. But Jim, I hadn't met him prior. He just got off stage and just walked right up to me, shook my hand. He was like, hey, it was so nice to meet you. And I wasn't going to tell him, like, we've never met.
Yeah, right.
I just was like, yep.
Oh, man, nice seeing you again, sir.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, because, like, with him, like, I grew up watching, and listening to, like, K-Rock and all that. All the shows on the radio.
And that was probably good for you because that sparks the motivation, I would think.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And not even that, getting to see them like kill it. Like they both did so well too.
You got to get into the Comedy Store.
Yeah,
but you go there, you better be ready.
Yeah.
Lucas was telling me. Remember, David. When he first went, that's how he made his mark. But they put you at the bottom.
Right.
So when he walked in, he was just up and coming. You know what I mean? He wasn't opening for Rogan and Chappelle and all that shit. So they put you at the bottom.
Yeah.
Or whatever, where you're going against the best purposely. Because whoever runs it is the lady who's ran it forever.
Yeah, Mitzi Shore.
Mitzi was her name. Yeah. And she'll, like, say you were to go in now, you're new and up and coming. She'll put you against like a Chappelle.
Right. Yeah. She'll have you follow like
right, like a fucking killer, right? Who like Chappelle is just there to test his material, or Rogan or Hart or whatever. They go there to test, right? That's what they do. But then their test material is killer. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe not killer yet for like an amphitheater.
But it's still Chappelle. It's still one of the best comics in the world. Yeah.
Right. So he could just talk about what his day's like, and he's funny. You know what I mean? So, improv level, I mean, his testing is murder, So you would go up after him, right? That's how they bury you?
Yeah.
To see if you can hold yourself.
Right.
And if you can, then they invite you back. That's what he was saying. Then the more times right? That's what he was saying? Yeah. And then as you get invited back, you start to meet Lucas now, who's made a name for himself, and the Tim Dillon and everybody. And then everybody networks, and next thing you know, you're fucking here, there, everywhere.
Right.
But it seems to me it all starts with this comedy. It seems to me it starts improv, Comedy Store. If you can make it through the Comedy Store, you made it.
Mm-hmm.
But and the three big guys that I met, improv, Comedy Store, made it. Or improv, Comedy Store, got killed, new job.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, you know, like wind up blowing up on YouTube or something like that.
Yeah, or that, yeah, which is just fucking, now without being a comic on YouTube, forget it. Don't even think about it, because you can't be you.
Right.
You can't say anything.
Yeah.
So what the fuck are you going to do on YouTube? What are you going to do? Talk about the color of the table?
Right.
And you can't even talk about the color of the table. You better talk about the texture of the fucking table.
Right.
Or you're going to get banned. You know what I mean?
No, it's yeah, I don't know how you guys wanted to do this.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years? And do you think NFT will mix in with comedy? I just asked that because I keep watching.
I don't know enough about NFT currently to know.
We're still trying to figure it out.
Okay.
So I was hoping you knew a little bit more than that.
It's just a bunch of screenshots from what I understand, right?
I guess how would a comic use that? I guess maybe a background. No, because you can make.
It's my son described it to me yesterday in a car ride. It's basically it's almost like a screenshot, or say your picture right there. That's technically an artwork behind you. That could technically be classified. Here, I'll pull it up on the screen. So your picture there in the middle with, I don't know if that's Mars or whatever. It's supposed to be a planet or whatever it is supposed to be behind you.
It's from the comic Watchmen.
Okay.
Yeah. So
like that could be registered somehow as an NFT, I believe.
Right. Okay.
And you have to register it. I don't know. People have I haven't wrapped my head. My kid was trying to explain it. It's basically a screenshot with artwork. It's turned into art almost.
Okay. But you own it. Like.
Yeah, you could, and then you sell, and then you can buy NFTs, and some NFTs become.
I watched this Bubbles guy. Is that, you know what I'm talking about? Okay.
I barely understand crypto, so now this is a whole other fucking level.
Okay. All right. So I'll explain it to you, guy. So this Bubbles guy, he's like the main guy with this shit. Just one day he woke up and it popped, and the guy's a gazillionaire. You know what I mean? One of those type of things. So what I got from it was, you buy these images and you put them in software and you kind of like throw them all together. But then you get other software and hardware where you can take that insane image and turn it into almost a hologram. And I could be completely fucking this up, so don't take my word for it that this is correctly described.
Yeah, I'm already trying to.
So what I got from, which is probably wrong, is that you're on the computer. You take you buy a bunch of these images and make them fit together some way, somehow, and then from that you can then make, like, say you're doing your stand-up, you can turn that into a hologram that's. Right, they're not there yet, but that's like the projection, is that right now you can make a picture and you can make it do whatever the fuck you want. Right. You can make, change colors, you can make it have abs, not have abs, and on like a loop, right? But they're there now where it's a hologram, but it's not out yet because, they paste it so you buy the small shit first. And they inch you to what you really want that they already have.
Right.
So then you would go on stage with an NFT hologram, and it would be Alex and Alex Jr. Now, you have a thing in your hand where you can make Alex Jr.'s mouth move and do like that fucking comic that talks without his mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking? He's got the thing, and he's really good. So then you would have like...
The puppet guy.
Yeah, the puppet guy. So you would have your hologram as your puppet guy. That would be an NFT developed through an NFT.
Gotcha. Okay.
If that makes sense.
Or you could have it like act out your skit or something.
Right. Or you could have it act out your skit, which is kind of a dangerous fucking thing.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Right. So now, like, that's like more of a step toward the AI shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is a fucking total wormhole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else you want to promote?
Right now, like I said, I just got those 2 shows going on right now.
Oh, yeah, I did want to ask you. So when you do a back-to-back like that, is the material the same on show 1 as 2, or you have 2 totally separate dialogues?
I mean, a lot of comics will just do whatever kind of works. If like that set went well, I'll just try to replicate that. I try to the best of my ability, like get to a venue early, just kind of sit in the crowd, get a sense of like who's there, get a sense of like anybody performing before me, like what kind of stuff they like, and then based on that, just decide like what material I have that I think is going to go well.
And when you make that evaluation, what goes through your mind? Okay, so you're sitting there, you're looking in the crowd. You're looking at body movement, I'm sure, body language. Are people loose? Are they uptight? Right? And then is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, like what I just try to do is like figure out like, okay, are the people here for comedy, or were they in this room already when comedy started happening?
Good.
And like if that's the case, I have to do a whole other thing. I have to get their attention, keep their attention, and actually like make them want to give me their attention, because it's not a captive, or it is a captive audience. A crowd that's there for comedy, you have a lot more kind of leeway. Like, okay, they're here to laugh, so worst case scenario, they don't laugh at my jokes. If they're not there for comedy,
I see what you're
a lot of the times it's like, oh, people are going to get a really bad Yelp review now.
I've never heard anybody say that.
Yeah.
When I've asked that, I've never heard that. So you sit there and you evaluate, okay, is this a crowd that just wants to be out of the house to do something and hang out with whoever they're with, or are they here to laugh?
Right.
And if the majority is here that they're just hanging out, now you got to come with something in the back pocket, right?
Right.
But if it looks like they're there to laugh, you can save that back pocket for the next time when they're not there for comedy. Right?
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. So you got 2 events coming up. Hopefully they do well.
Yeah, thanks.
And then we got to get you to meet David and fucking get you to comedy, the comedy store.
Yeah, I was actually watching American Gangster with my dad.
His uncle's Frank Lucas.
Yeah, and I was telling him.
You would never think it.
Yeah.
Right? We looked at him, I said, your uncle's Frank Lucas? The fuck?
Right. No, but he had a huge family, and like,
Yeah.
from what I understand, like he tried to take care of as many of them as possible. So.
Yeah. And David, he's a real cool guy.
Yeah.
Real cool guy. Down there. You wouldn't even know he's a comedian. What's that?
I got one question for him.
Yeah.
2 questions, actually. First one, top 3 favorite comics.
Joey Diaz. Joey Diaz, Wanda Sykes, and Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac? Yeah?
Bernie Mac was funny as fuck.
Bernie Mac was good.
Bernie Mac was, I think, the most... if you ever watch like the his bit, like I ain't scared of you motherfuckers, like I have never seen somebody get on stage and immediately like flip the crowd, like you're mine, you're mine. So to having been a fan of his before starting comedy, but now understanding comedy, my respect for him is even more.
I think when they did the 5 of them, what was that called? When all 5 of them, he killed everybody, in my opinion.
Yeah, not Def Comedy Jam.
No. It was one when the 5 1 on tour was like, I don't think Rock was involved.
Kings of Comedy.
Kings of Comedy.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Who was better than Bernie in that?
Yeah,
it's just he's got the look. Not being racist, he's dark as dark gets, and it just makes him so funny.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just a blast. Such a shame how he went too.
Yeah, and I even watched like a show like the Bernie Mac show. Like,
that was funny as hell.
So Joey Diaz, Bernie Mac, Wanda Sykes for sure.
See, you know what I think is hilarious? He's stuck on that fucking I guess heroin. Artie Lang is a funny motherfucker.
My little brother's huge in Artie Lang. Like he's watching like old Howard Stern and stuff. I think he's doing okay now though. I don't know. You never.
Well, I had Stuttering John in twice, and what did Stuttering John say? Stuttering John had quite a lot to drink, but he.
As he would,
Stuttering John was about 50-50 because we did one day, and bro, John's a cool dude.
Mm-hmm.
They killed him in the comments, but he's butthurt, but he's a nice guy. They're killing him. I'm a huge Howard Stern fan,
right?
But I mean, they're just eating him alive, But he did have fucking, I mean, the fucking guy. Listen, he likes Miller. Is it Miller or Coors?
I believe it was Coors.
You would have listen.
Coors Light.
You could come with a pen and paper for that interview, and you could write a whole set just with him in 2 hours.
Really?
Just of the crazy shit. The fucking table was covered with Coors Light. Covered. Like, the whole fucking table. It was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And, and then when he got lit, oh, boy. All the Howard and this and that and whatever. But going back to Artie, he talked very highly about Artie.
Okay.
As far as him being clean, I think Tuesday was clean, Wednesday wasn't. So I don't know, but to me, when he's on, he's funny as hell.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Bernie Mac, Artie Lang, and then I'm a toss-up for 3 because I got Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy. Even though he's a dick, I think, because I know a friend that knows him personally, not from comedy. What's the guy's name? The Italian guy?
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Sebastian?
Yeah.
You know, business is business. Who he is who he is. I don't give a fuck who he is. He's funny.
Yeah.
So I would say Sebastian, Chris Rock. Who was the other one? Artie Lang, Eddie Murphy. You got to remember Eddie Murphy, bro.
I forget about.
I'm really hoping like he comes out with that new special that he's supposed to.
Yeah.
That's a forgotten one, Eddie Murphy. I think.
Yeah.
Almost. You can't.
I'm surprised he's not in your top 3. Remember Beverly Hills Cop?
I mean,
And stand up.
Raw was I didn't really discover Eddie Murphy's stand up until kind of later.
Yeah, he was done. Yeah. So when you were coming up, you had Bernie.
Right.
Did something happen with his brother Charlie?
I don't know.
He had something going on. I forget what the fuck. What were you gonna say?
I think I like Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's my guy right now. But I mean, comic and funny guy, I think 2 different things for me.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Like, I think the funniest man ever, he's dead now, Chris Farley. Like, just the funniest
he
dude.
was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Now,
But see, I think he went. He got too stupid. For me, not to take anything away from him, I just think he got too goofy.
Well, when him and David Spade were together.
Just for me personally, that's
right.
just a personal
Those
preference.
were the best tag team, him and David Spade together.
Yeah.
But, and my last question was, you're from Jersey, you said, right? Football fan, not football fan? I know we're not totally off the subject of that.
Not really, but Jets.
The Jets, wow. At least you didn't say the Giants. Okay. I was hoping you said.
I said the Jets. I meant the Eagles.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So that shows you like how little I.
Good. Well, that's all right. You still said the Eagles.
Yeah.
Right.
No, because I went to Rowan, which was like right outside of Philly. So
my buddy played football there.
Okay.
Where'd you go?
I went to Temple.
Temple.
Rowan had the.
Temple was.
You guys
Temple was
had
nice.
the ugliest colors, brown and yellow.
I'm convinced that wasn't actually a college that I went to.
I'll never forget when my buddy.
He said, "I'm convinced it's not a fucking college."
I'm playing football at Rowan University. I'm like, oh, Rowan, cool. And then he showed me the school colors. I'm like, brown and yellow.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's the worst colors.
I think we're like the
together.
I think the Howlers was our mascot.
Yeah.
It was like some ugly, stupid, or I don't know. Yeah.
Rowan.
Yeah, but I spent a lot of time in Philly. I was in Philly when the Yankees won the World Series. Got to see that riot. I think every single car fire I've ever seen's been in Philly. So,
being a car guy, what's your favorite car? What's your top 3 favorite cars? And then I'll stop torturing you with fucking proffer FBI questions. We're hitting them with fucking. You got a deposition.
The Porsche. What the fuck's it called? The Taycan. But the Gran Turismo, like they have like a station wagon version of it.
Yeah.
You would never need another car to do anything ever. So that's definitely number 1. Ford GT, but like the original like 60s one. And probably like a Corvette.
Yeah. The new ones are cool as shit.
Yeah. No,
they copied off the Lamborghini, but they're cool as shit.
Yeah, no, like the new Z06 is.
Yeah. I had a couple Lamborghinis back in my day, and they're close. Not inside,
right,
and not driving, but the look. Yeah, I mean they're fucking close. What's your top 3?
Top 3. I'm not really a car guy. I mean,
you're a fucking guy. You got to be a car guy.
I like my Jeep, man. My Jeep Wrangler.
That's 1.
Is the Jeep with no doors outside yours?
That's mine.
I
got Christmas lights wrapped around it. Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
All right. So
can I ask you? And like, I'm not like you don't ever get worried. Like I'm making this so much more unsafe. Or are you? Like, is removing the doors actually...
I never thought of... I mean, my kids were in the car the other day with me.
Okay.
No, I never really
might get arrested, bro.
Yeah, I never thought about it. Well, in Florida, you could drive with, like, people hanging
out. Yeah,
no,
I went to Tampa. I saw the first time when I first moved down there, I go to fucking Tampa, and I see 2 vans with 2 kids in the back, seatbelts on, no fucking sliding door. I thought I was in deja vu or, like, fucking a third world country. I'm like, on a highway.
Yeah.
Like on a fucking interstate. Like a van.
Yeah.
No sliding door and 2 kids in the back. I'm looking over. I'm like, Hey guys, how are you?
Yeah.
How's the fucking iPad in there?
All right, I'll give you two.
You got a fucking iPad, but you can't get a door for the van so your kids don't fly out.
I'll give you two. I said Jeep Wrangler, but so all gun, you're gonna call me crazy, but I love the Dodge Vipers.
Oh,
What? They're the worst cars ever.
Love
Bro, I had that. I took that back, and it's
Love
all
that
fucking
Viper.
plastic.
you had a Viper?
Yeah,
Really?
fuck that car.
And
They're fast.
and then
The plastic
I
inside
mean, it's a
killed me.
V10, American V10 is pretty fucking cool.
No,
But
but my problem with it was...
they melt though, right?
I didn't have it long enough to melt it, but the problem that I had was at the time they were like 100K. They were when they were hot, like 80 maybe or some
Right,
shit.
yeah.
I don't know. And then you get in and it's plastic.
Yeah.
But I was like I told you, I got no patience, so I just went and got it without doing due diligence,
Right.
like a responsible person.
Right.
would
You
do.
get in, it's a neon.
Yeah, and then 3 days later I traded in and lose 20 on it. You know, but I don't.
and
I don't
then
like
the number one, and everyone will laugh at this, is remember the old Volkswagen bus, like the hippie bus.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. I always wanted one of those. When
He's starting to fucking scare me.
my-
Now he wants a bus. What was the other weird thing he said?
the Dodge Viper.
No, before that.
Oh, my Jeep Wrangler. I already have.
No, it was something else before that.
that, but
I forget it. Don't
yeah.
matter.
But yeah, Volkswagen, the hippie bus. I want one.
Do you?
That's gonna be my like retirement savings. They're gonna go for a hippie bus, and I'm gonna just live in it by the ocean.
I would just take the Lamborghini Spider.
Can't live in that thing.
I don't care. That was my favorite out of all of them. And then I would do the Panamera again. And then I think I would get a truck. F-150.
Fuck no truck.
Nah, but you can move shit.
The Raptor's sweet.
Is it?
Yeah, the new.
Well, actually, if I could have any car I want, I would get the Lamborghini truck. That's a beast.
Oh, the Urus.
Yeah, the worst. I would
yeah.
get that. So I would get the Lamborghini Spider, the Lamborghini truck, and then I would get the Panamera for the everyday car.
Okay.
I've never been a truck guy. Yeah. So every time I see it,
I say I would get a truck, but I don't know if I would actually get a truck. But I would get the Lamborghini truck.
Okay.
It's big
Yeah,
as
the
fuck.
Taycan is just
Maybe.
like the electric version of the Panamera.
Yeah.
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 maybe a Lamborghini truck, but a regular truck.
No, I'm saying Lamborghini truck.
Okay,
Yeah.
I could go that. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I see a regular truck, I always just see guys that just like diesel engine. They pull up next to you and they step out of the car. They're about 5'2". There's nothing to them, but the truck makes up for everything else. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Sorry, truck people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really. I can't see myself jumping in one, but I like one for moving shit. You know what I mean? But I would just go with the Lamborghini truck.
But then
Yeah.
everybody calls you if you have a truck to move stuff. So then you're the guy that, hey, Tommy, you got
Yeah.
a truck. Can you come over?
Well, I don't
move
answer the
this?"
phone ever, so that's no problem.
Right. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of like if you can get like one car that does everything, perfect. You know, like so, like that Porsche. You know, you could sleep in it, you can store shit, you could go
Yeah,
faster than just.
I'll
about
tell you what,
anybody.
man. I've had a lot of cars, and Porsche's the best I've had.
Yeah.
No problems, no nothing.
Hmm.
I'm surprised because they're made by Volkswagen,
Right.
and Volkswagen's fucked me 7 ways to Sunday.
Really.
Oh, God, the stories I could tell you with the Volkswagen. How many times I ended up in places I didn't want to be because of that fucking thing.
Which one?
Jetta, GTI, Golf.
Okay,
Then I tried a Passat. All of
Oh,
them.
so you've had a few. Okay.
Oh, they all fucked me electrically.
Right.
Like literally, like 10,000, 15,000 miles. Boom, all the electrical units went out, and 2 of them.
Nice.
They're under the seats, and when one goes out, they all short, and then you're fucked on the side of the road.
Right.
And it would just happen to be on my way to Philly, 76, not near an exit,
Right. Yeah. Middle of fucking nowhere.
middle of fucking
Yeah.
nowhere.
That sucks.
All right, Alex. Well, man, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks
and
so much for
coming in. It's cool that you're close by.
Yeah.
So you can come whenever.
Yeah.
Whenever you're bored.
I'd
you know?
love to come back.
You're like what, 10 minutes away?
Yeah. Not even.
Yeah. So go knock out these shows and tell me how they are, and we'll have them in the description. If anything else pops up prior to this coming out, just let me know. I'll have it in.
Okay.
I'll check with you before it comes out.
All
But
right. Awesome.
anything you want to throw out?
Yeah, just I'll be at Just the Funny on January 8th and Villain Theater January 9th. Instagram is Novelloclub. And yeah, stop being such dicks to each other. Yeah.
And if we want tickets to come see you, how do we get them?
JustTheFunny.com
Pull that up again, Rob.
has tickets for that, and VillainTheater.com has tickets for that.
Okay, so you want to go to Just the Funny, JUSTTHE funny.com, and you can get tickets, right, Alex?
Mm-hmm.
And that one's the 8th,
Yeah, that's on the 8th.
January 8th.
Yep, and January 9th, if you go to VillainTheater.com, You can get tickets to see me there.
Okay, and that's January 9th. And what time are both of them? I think I saw 8 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean, it could.
Yeah, that will be up there.
Yeah.
And you'll put it on your Instagram and
Yeah.
Facebook. All right, cool. All right, Alex. Anything else?
No.
Well, congratulations on the sobriety. Congratulations on helping other people out.
Cool.
And I wish you the best in the comedy world that's trenched with fucking walls.
Yeah.
But if you want it, you'll do it. As long as you don't give up, you'll do it.
No. I'm, it's giving me opportunities to like come do shit like this. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep pumping, bro.
Cool.
All right, man. I appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.